Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mailfuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Hey, what's up?
And back from his sick leave, it's Connor.
Yes, notably no sick pay, though.
He's going to be wanting catering next.
That's what you guys get free healthcare. You don't get sick time.
So, we talk about DC Comics on this show, and coming up on this week's fairly packed. I mean, this is a complete contrast to last week where we had like 4 books total. We have Heroes in Crisis issue 8, Detective Comics 1002, Action Comics 1010, Wonder Woman 69, The Flash 69, Batgirl 34,
Nice.
Justice League 10. Sorry, Justice League Dark 10. You threw me off there, but
Sorry.
The Terrifics number 15, The Silencer issue 16, Dial H for Hero issue 2, and Freedom Fighters issue 5. Hell of a list.
Yep.
You will notice that there is no Red Hood, which Connor's still due for this month, obviously because he was sick last week in the quiet week. He's just going to roll that over into next week, so David can fight him to the death over it if he wants. But it's coming.
He's
next
still
week.
getting it. It's not like it hasn't been delivered upon. It's just,
Slightly later.
when you got the ginger plague,
Slightly late and disappointing. That basically sums up Connor to.
That's fair.
So, yes, here we are. Connor has a voice this week. If you go back to the YouTube channel, Mailfuzz TV, and you check out the Star Trek Discovery finale review, or what was the other thing we did?
It was Blue Steel.
It was the Blue Steel in Flux, the movie review. And just listen to his voice in those 2 videos. And that was before he went into a coma for 3 days and we didn't record anything for a while. You can see how bad he sounded.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
I had to boost his audio levels up by like 10 decibels just so he would come in at the right level. He was like,
Yeah.
the movie's pretty
I
good.
basically didn't have a voice, and I was just like, why am I doing this?
It was a shambles. It was very unprofessional. So
last year when I had
But I
Chapter, I
showed
still
up.
recorded. So I'm just saying.
yeah, Matt, it's appreciated. Everyone appreciates it. All the folks at home. So yeah, that's what's coming up. I didn't think there was any news this week, but Connor insisted there were some delays to talk about. So Connor can tell us about some delays.
There is. First up, Shazam, issue 6. Is now coming June 5th. So that's been delayed 3 weeks.
Okay.
And, of course, the weekly update, we have another weekly delay to Doomsday Clock.
That's not even news anymore.
Oh, no, but this is there's 3 parts to this news, actually.
Oh, God.
First one, issue 10 has been delayed another week. So it's May 29th now.
That's a week 5. That's a good week for it. It's a quiet week.
Issue 11 was originally supposed to come out May 22nd. So they thought, do you know what? We should probably actually push that now. August 14th.
That's actually a reasonable...
That's a 12-week delay from what it was originally.
Yeah,
it's
but
2.5 months after the previous issue.
Yes, but I actually believe they'll hit that.
I still don't.
I mean,
But
I'm
we'll
not saying
see.
it won't get pushed back a week or 2, but that's actually... This
It's
is
better than pushing it to July or whatever.
No, but this is the thing, though. I mean, July would have still been believable because that was 2 months, but that's still more than what issue 10 is taking from when issue 9 came out. Let's say issue 10 hits that last week of May.
Yeah, when was issue 9?
Issue 9 was like one of the last couple of weeks of March. Like, it was 2 months since that last issue. Maybe just over. So that's actually a realistic expectation for when issue 11. Whereas, before it was like, oh, no, it's still coming out in May. Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah, 9 came out on 8th of March.
Oh, it was the 8th of March. It was a bit earlier on the month,
8th.
I thought.
Yeah. Or 6th of March, sorry. I put when I read it. 6th of March.
Well, I mean,
So
still, it may go another week, but that's like a reasonable expectation based on when 10 seems to be coming out.
It means, assuming there are no other delays, we will finish, mid-October?
No, I would say end of October.
Yeah, assuming there's no other delays and they hit 2 months. So when I said they're hitting November for a clean 2 years, I might not have been that far off.
Well, no, but it was still pessimistic at the time because the delays have gotten worse since then. So,
It was realistic. And the third bit with this is they've actually changed the plans for the trade release. They did originally have one big hardcover scheduled to come out in November, I think.
and most sensible people will still wait for the one big hardcover that will come after the other two
Yes,
trades
they're
anyway.
actually splitting it into 2 6 issues now. I assume hardcovers. It doesn't say, but I'm assuming still because they typically do hardcovers first anyway. So I'm assuming it's 2 6 issue.
There's going to be a
hardcovers.
deluxe hardcover with all 12. Just wait for it.
There will be, but it'll be a while now because the first part is coming in October. The second part they're expecting in May, which is quite a wait. And then
That's normal for the delay though. Between when the last issue comes out and when their trades come out, that's actually the norm.
Yeah, it's not that far. But it's quite a wait for us to get to the deluxe, which will probably be another 6 months after that. So you're looking at the end of 2020. If you're waiting on that, which you should be.
Matt, give your thoughts. You've been sitting there quiet.
No, I just it's whatever. I don't. you guys get more interested in this than I do, so that's all.
He loves talking about it. I'm just poking.
I know.
All right, exciting delay news, or not, as the case may be. I guess we'll talk about books. I don't know. I was going to start. I was going to like if we get anything else to talk about before we get into books. And I don't actually think we do. If you are interested on Avengers Endgame thoughts, me and Matt, along with Tim, will be reviewing that tomorrow at the time. Well, actually, by the time this goes up, because these go up on early Sunday now, we're recording later today. By the time you're hearing this, if you're listening to it day one. And it'll be up sometime late Sunday as our Avengers Endgame review, which you can get on the YouTube page, MailFuzz TV, or you can get on the MailFuzz Movies audio feed podcast. So, whatever one tickles your fancy, if you wanted to hear us talk about it. And I suppose I should put that in the Elsewhere feed as well, like I do with the DC movies on this one.
Yeah, that makes
you
sense.
probably should.
That does make sense, doesn't it?
If they have any what's the word I'm looking for? They like Marvel comics. They like Marvel movies.
That's true. Although theoretically, I should have put Hellboy in that feed as well, because technically it's all non-DC comics.
I mean, again, after seeing Endgame, the less we can talk about Hellboy, the better. I know that'll upset Tim.
Yeah, try telling that to Tim tomorrow.
Tim was posting images of his letterbox ratings for both movies, and Hellboy was suspiciously a little bit higher.
What's Tim's letterbox?
Just Tim Vergilish, I think. He's a boring
I need
sod.
to go and find out. I need to see this for myself.
Go check what he rated Hellboy.
Of course he did.
Well, he even told us in the review that he was gaming the review a little because it is Hellboy. So take that with what you will.
A grain of salt.
Yeah.
That's what you take that with.
It says a lot that he could still give Avengers Endgame an incredibly high score and still be lower than Hellboy.
Yeah.
And for
How high it is.
And Hellboy is not a good movie. Like, it is objectively a bad motion picture. Let us make that very clear.
Very, very clear.
Oh dear. And I'm sure me and Matt will go on a rant on the Endgame review about how badly DC have messed up and aren't anywhere close to anything like this. But we'll save that for that, because I'm sure we'll get to it. So we will discuss DC Comics, and we will start with the cheeriest of cheery books, which I'm sure will present us with lots of happy conversation and thoughtful, hopeful inspiration, and that is Heroes in Crisis issue 8, Tom King writing with Mitch Gerads on the art. So I want to start off by saying that, back when this series started, back when Heroes in Crisis started, I liked the feel of it. I liked, the impending what's going on. And yes, there was that question of why are we just finding Wally and Roy's bodies, as if they've been killed off camera. This is kind of, whatever. But it had this feeling to it. I was kind of into it. And parts of the story got better, although parts of it got more tedious. I think the last issue was definitely the one where I was really feeling the fatigue of just it being dragged out to what it was being dragged out to.
Until this issue.
This issue is basically like, I don't even care if they fix it or how they fix it. I don't think it can redeem the reading experience at this point, because I hated this issue.
Me too, Pete. I'm glad you said it.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't read this, because if you guys hated it, oh boy.
This is, unless they do something to properly fix this, and by fix this I mean Wally. Unless they do something to properly fix Wally after this and retcon all this shit out of continuity, I would have rather he never came back.
Yeah. I get what King's going for. I get that there's a parable about PTSD and mental illness and lashing out, but the way in which this just holds your hand and explains every little thing that has happened thus far, and it still doesn't feel fulfilling. It sucked. Like, I don't.
The only male positive I can say is that Wally didn't technically intentionally murder everyone at Sanctuary. Right. He just sort of exploded with Speed Force because he couldn't control it because he got emotional, and that killed everyone.
Yeah, he essentially had like a panic attack via Speed Force.
Yes.
And he couldn't control it, therefore.
It's better than him becoming like a sadistic killer and just murdering everyone. So, I mean, points for that, I guess.
But, like, then him, like, this is a definitely, I don't say because Flash, but there's a term for that. It's Speed Force. I don't have to explain shit, right?
Speed Force, bro.
Yeah, so he, through using the Speed Force, he goes through and pieces together all of the secrets of Sanctuary. He's the one that wrote the Puddlers Are Dead because he remembered a story that Wally or that Barry had told him about, that Puddlers are these people that take out the impurities of iron, right? But because you take out the impurities, it affects your lifespan because it's a very dangerous job, inhaling all those vapors. So these people that are making things better end up having to sacrifice themselves. All right, I get it. It's all very well researched, and like, I'm sure this is all part of King's plan. I don't like the way it was executed.
I don't like the concept. Ultimately, I'm at a point now where I don't like this concept for a story. So even if you fix it wonderfully in the last issue, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible that some dramatic point won't make me see the point of all this, right? And make me recontextualize it and think, okay, that's why he did this with the character. That's why he picked Wally. That's why he's going through this specifically. But right now, it feels like there's almost nothing he could do that would make me go, this was worth the journey.
Well, and I feel like you kept saying this won't all matter, and that's why I keep going. Like, I keep feeling like when you involve Booster Gold and Timey-Wimey, and now the Speed Force and Timey-Wimey, I just feel like this is going to be written out of existence.
See, the thing is we find out Wally basically sets up the mystery. He intentionally does all the things, writes the graffiti on the wall, displays the bodies like they are. He makes Harley and Booster each see different version of events, so they both think the other did it. He sets all this up, and he specifically says he wants to set it up so that Barry will overlook things because he knows how he works, and he also things that will make Batman question things, right? He wants Batman to be, deep in the mystery. And this issue doesn't really explain why he wants them to be in such an extreme mystery, other than maybe he just wants it to be unsolvable. But the whole thing is that he's recording this confession and sending it to Lois Lane. He ends with saying, Miss Lane, this is my confession, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where it's going with this for its final issue, and part of me just doesn't give a shit anymore.
Yep.
I'm
at the same. I'm not one for like that hates like walking you through, but this just felt super like lazy.
Was this issue
on the creator's part? That's all it is.
It's Wally telling his story of everything he's done since he's been at Sanctuary, and just going through it all.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have characters uncover the mystery. They don't get to the bottom of it. No. All the investigation is pointless. We're just going to have them. We'll just tell you.
But it's also Wally saying that was his point. Is because his point is people shouldn't have to go through this stuff alone. And that's a very noble intent out of Tom King. Because with the Sanctuary, with the way that it was set up, everyone's dealing with it through their own way. There's no actual therapist to help you get through this stuff. And that's why Wally ended up having this explosion of Speed Force energy that killed everybody because it got too much for him to handle. And so the whole point is that no one should have to go through this stuff alone, and he's alone, and that's why this all happened. Again, that's a very it's a very interesting in today's society. It's a good message, right? Like, but the way that King unveils it all, again, it's all exposition. It's all Wally going, well, I did this, and then I went and did this, and then this happened because.
I mean, no, but so you're talking about craft here. You're talking about how it's executed. Yeah. I don't even care about craft at this point. I just hate the concept. You've turned Wally into a killer of a bunch of people, and you've made him more depressed than he's ever been before. And obviously, I like the idea of exploring that his wife and kids are missing, and that would have him be down. But we're at a point now where he feels like he can't even get past it. That short of the wife, even if the wife and kids came back, even if Linda and the kids came back, like at the end of this series they somehow brought them out of the Speed Force, out of continuity and into this world. He will be a wreck because of what he's done. So it has to be erased in some way, and he cannot remember it because it's just such a dark thing, and it feels like character assassination. I hate to use that phrase, but it feels like character assassination, and I would rather he didn't come back if this is what it was all going to build. And I do have to wonder, like, did Williamson do Flash War as a sort of last hurrah, knowing what Wally was going to be done, what was going to happen to him next?
See, and I hope that's not the case, because Williamson's really excited to be working on whatever is coming next. Like, remember, he has this other series that's coming, and he always said how excited he was to work on the Flash, and Wally was his Flash. So I always took that as, hey, maybe we're going to get some other Wally-centric series, some team book or something. I don't know. And now I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we hope for, but like. At this point, it kind of feels like...
This feels like they took that away. Like, all the possibility of redeeming Wally now, like you said, is like...
And like I said, by the end of issue 9, the final issue, it might change everything, it might retcon things, it might fix it all. And that's okay going forward for future things, but it does not justify or redeem this story where I'm like, I care about this story anymore, I want to read this story.
Right.
As soon as we started getting hints that Wally might be the killer... And we saw this cover for issue 8, and it was like, this looks like they're going down this path. Nothing about this, like... And, okay, like, so people bring up Identity Crisis, and, okay, I imagine, yes, there might be, like, Ralph Dibny fans. A lot less of them in Wally West, but there might be Ralph Dibny fans who hate that story because it kind of takes away... That character could never be the same after that story. And most of us didn't really care if we liked the story because we didn't really care about Ralph Dibny being Ralph Dibny forever because he's Ralph Dibny. And it doesn't mean that much to a lot of people.
Right, but still, in that moment with Ralph, like, there's this empathy where you root for this to, like, you got to find out who did this, right? And I feel here, there's nothing to root for besides, like, this being all undone. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a fair point to make if you're comparing them. And I want to acknowledge that, yes, if you were a Ralph Dibny fan when Identity Crisis came out, I get that probably destroyed that character for you in a way that you could never go back. Barring full-on retcons and continuity wipes and whatever else.
Which they seem to have been heading towards, like.
Yeah.
The first time in a while, where we're seeing Ralph pop up, or at least his name.
Yeah, and I just... But I liked that story. I liked how it was written. I liked how it affected DCU. I felt like more things were coming out of it that mattered. Here in this story, I mean, right now at least, outside of characters in Green Arrow and Flash reacting to deaths of characters, none of the effects of what happened in Heroes in Crisis have been felt anywhere in terms of plot, in terms of Sanctuary, in terms of...
There was just a mention of it in Doomsday Clock, like number 5, 6, one of those ones. But other than that, it all, like, that felt like an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read the last issue now. I'm not going to...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I have to know how, because Booster, him going to Ted, I don't think factored into Wally's plan, right? And Harley going to Babs. So I feel like that throws a wrench in it. And so we find out that the dead body is from 5 days in the future when Wally's basically going to kill himself. So I feel like they're going to stop him from doing
if you wanted a panel of Wally West speeding behind himself to snap his own neck, this book's got you covered.
Yeah. So you throw a wrench in that time loop and I feel with Booster. That's
Joe, really is bizarre to me is that Mr. Miracle was a fantastic book, and we spent like sometimes close to an hour just deconstructing each issue, talking about what each scene meant, how it related to the overall themes of the book, and this big comparison's kind of a mess, and I'm really struggling to see what the point of some of the decisions are. And I get what you're saying about how they're not doing this alone, and it's kind of almost a meta thing where because Wally keeps talking about how everyone's pinning like the hope of the world on him because he represents hope and how much stress that causes them and blah 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 blah. Like I appreciate what it's doing there, but it just it's
the execution's not there for that. Like to turn it into a murder mystery instead of like that was the cool thing about Mr. Miracle. It wasn't like a mystery. It was almost like a slice of life in Barda and Scott's life.
I mean, execution's off, but I go back to just pure concept. Conceptually, there's problems with just what the idea is here. At least, and again, maybe the last issue will make it all magically work, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt the last issue is going to make me look back at this one and go, "Oh, that was worth doing all that."
This is one that when it started, I went, "Oh, this will be like a trade on my shelf, like Identity Crisis, that if someone has questions, I can give it to them to read." This is just like I don't want anything to do with it now. This issue really upset me. And not just because I'm a well, yeah, like not just because I'm a big Wally fan and I don't agree with what they're doing with him, but it just like Pete said, it's a mess and it's almost unjustified with why, like. So Johns brings Wally back because everyone's been crying for Wally. And then, like, what? Eddy will be like, oh, no, we're going to, hey, King, you can use Wally. Let's turn him into this terrible wreck of a character. I don't know where the thought process was.
It does feel like whatever plans Johns wanted for Wally, or even other things that Rebirth promised in a lot of ways, as much as, like, I'm loving Doomsday Clock, and Doomsday Clock feels like it's delivering the big epic thing that Rebirth set up.
When it is delivered.
Yeah, but the promise
eventually,
of everything that was in Rebirth that was promised to kind of spiral out into the books, that's kind of dissipated over time, and not all necessarily for the worst. Like some elements are arguably better. Like I think Superman in action are better than they were when Rebirth started.
We're at a point now though where Doomsday Clock was supposed to take a year, and it was set 1 year in the future, right? And at the end of that year, all the other books would jump ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm no longer sure they will. I don't know if they bother. I think they might just go Doomsday Clock. It's its own thing. Just kind of let it do its thing and leave it at that.
Yeah. But at least when you're dealing with Dr. Manhattan, he's omnipotent. He can adjust the story a little to affect it later. Like, it's not...
Yeah, I've never been super concerned with the timeline thing of DC Universal catch-up to Doomsday Clock, which is a year in advance, because they play so much with how much time passes at any given point anyway. That
I just mean more the idea of Doomsday Clock actually having an impact in the sense of everything that happened stays happened and we deal with the aftermath and the repercussions.
Oh, that's a whole other debate. That's a whole other question.
That's what I meant by catching up with it. And it's set post.
And at this point, I don't believe that everything's going to catch up with it or incorporate what's happened in Doomsday Clock. At this point, I almost feel like Doomsday Clock's going to be better than everything else. And then I'll just accept that nothing else is going to reference it.
It'll be a pipe dream that, if only we could have followed Doomsday.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a nice meta commentary from Johns on how Watchmen impacted superheroes in this century.
Yeah, I think it'll still be a great read.
Yeah. Even as a standalone, like, that's fine. Like, as a big continuity head that I am, I want to see it weave in and out, like it promised. But if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world.
There'll be some things that come out of it, because I at least imagine JSA and Legion are going to spring out of it.
Maybe.
That said, I will gladly sacrifice that if we can keep getting stuff like Naomi, which are just...
No, I mean, there's positive. I mean, I don't want this to be a doom and gloom conversation. Like, I'm reading a lot of DC books still, and I'm really enjoying all the ones I'm reading. I've made a good point of dropping things I'm not liking. So, and there's still a healthy amount of books. It's just, there's definitely areas which feel like... Because it's funny, because we're loving Aquaman right now. Aquaman is great. But Rebirth did promise they were getting married. Like, and that was 3 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like whatever the plans were, they changed from these are hard set plans, so this is a jumping off point.
No. The plans
know?
were John set up these plans, and then Didio and co didn't want to follow them.
They ousted him, and it's like, look, you go do your own thing. You get your whatever his label's called now.
What is that called?
Killzone or something like that.
Killzone, that's right.
Right. You go do your stuff in the corner, do whatever you want, and we'll take the main toys and do our thing.
Yeah. It's funny how
it's funny because
I would not be surprised to see Doomsday Clock when the trade comes out to be published under the Killzone banner.
Well, it depends if Killzone's even a thing by the time the trade comes out.
Right.
Because right now, Connor, it's purely conceptual. We have not had a single Killzone book yet.
No, I know. Yeah.
To the point where I
wouldn't
don't
be surprised if this is the first one, though.
No, that's the thing. I'm at the point now where I don't even necessarily believe it's going to exist. I don't think. Do you think there's going to be books that come out under Killzone? They announced that like a year ago, maybe even more than that.
Yeah, that was WonderCon last year.
Yeah, I think we might still get that Three Jokers book.
Oh yeah, that's definitely in the works.
Is that not just going to be Black Label though?
Yeah,
no, I mean they could do, but yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. It's been so long since they announced that it doesn't even feel like it's a real thing anymore.
No, man, I just want Johns to go back and write books like he did with Green Lantern and Flash. Like, just let him work. Yeah. And then play off his stuff from there.
Well, no, I mean, I'm digging Shazam. I'm enjoying Doomsday Clock's my favorite book every time it comes out. Like the thing here is not the quality or what he's writing. What he's writing is still, John's. The problem here is just how little control he actually has in the say of the overall direction of everything.
Right, and I'm okay with going back to a day where he's not dictating the creative focus, but they leave him alone to tell his stories. Like they did back then before he was promoted, So I just long for those days because, man, those days when Blackest Night was coming out and a new Green Lantern book came out, like I was rushing to the comic shop to get that, and I miss those days. Like I did not have that feeling with Heroes in Crisis 8. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read this first, but
I didn't. I was putting it off.
I had to know. I had to because I knew this was the big this is where it comes together.
The answers issue.
Yeah, it was a thud.
I put it off till at the middle of my pile because
I will say I did like the art.
Oh yeah, Mitch Gerads' art's fantastic.
Positive.
Yeah.
The shots who'd have guessed?
The shots of Wally, sitting in a field and he's all it's kind of like Superman the movie when Clark's in the cornfield. It's kind of get that kind of vibe to it. It looks great. It's gorgeous. More depressing in tone, obviously, than those scenes in Superman, but I guess we should rate Heroes in Crisis, Matt. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, you go first because I want to see how.
No, you go first.
Fine, I'm in a 4.5.
Matt thinks he could just flip it.
Yeah.
4.5, yeah. 3. What'd you guess for the art? Because the art's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated it. Oh dear. Alright, to move on, let's move on to Detective Comics. So Matt can get a break and
I'll take a break.
Connor can talk about Detective Comics 1002, Peter J. Tomasi and Brad Walker. So issue of 2 halves, I think, is how I describe this. First half.
Yeah. A good half and a bad half.
Oh, I was even implying that necessarily, but
oh no, I'm starting to feel justified now.
No, the first half is where we left off last time with Arkham Knight and his knights,
and some terrible dialogue.
I don't necessarily have much of a problem with this first half, actually.
I think all of Arkham Knight's dialogue in this first half is terrible.
Oh, his dialogue's bad. He's chewing scenery like a monologuing villain, but.
Is it as bad as Batman? Like
not quite.
No, it's not. It's never even close to that bad. But
that's good then.
It's a bit of a standoff with Batman, a bit of a fight. But the cops show up and basically they're in a standoff, and Arkham Knight's like, "Hey, we can go now, but if we do this, then all of these cops are, going to get hurt." all these civilians, so they both kind of back off, and that kind of de-escalates the situation. There's a couple of moments here I like though. I like where Batman, like, because he gets shot by like 100 arrows last issue. He's basically collapsed and he's going to the Batmobile, and Gordon actually catches him and like helps him in the car.
He's like, "Car, take this full home."
I was like, "Yes, taking full home." Yes, I thought that was a sweet moment. I like that. In the back of the cave, sort of looking into things. Alfred, of course, has been sassy because Bruce won't stay still while he's patching him up. As you do,
jabbering on about the arrows, you know, the fact that they could pierce his armor because they're made of like this, the same sort of material, and they knew exactly what his armor was to get through it.
And of course, this is a stealth sequel to Batman and Robin because Damian's also an equal start of this book apparently. Because the second half of the issue is Damian going off to try and get a fragment of the sun bomb, which is in the ocean. And he's swimming down and he gets attacked by the Knights and he's taken captive by Arkham Knight. And Arkham Knight's like, hey, you know, the city's Batman's prisoner. You're his prisoner too. I'm here to free you. You can join my crusade. Damian, of course, you know, once he's left alone, gets out of his restraints. And the cliffhanger is that they actually catch him and Arkham Knight's like, well, I'm going to have to do more to prove like you should join us. And he takes off his mask. And we don't see his face, so it's from behind. But Damian sees whoever it is.
What was the page before that? That page confused me, where you had all the panels of like various villains saying things like, you know, I think. You know,
do you know? I actually, I was going to look at it, but now you've actually described it. I was a little confused by that. I think behind some of the guys on the page, you can see like cells behind them. I think the implication is they're in that Arkham corridor, where they're all in cells. So that's why that's why all those little panels of the villains have like that blue glass tint over their face.
Yeah, okay, I see it now. That really confused me. I was like, where are all these guys? Because there's all these villains, you know, Hugo Strange is there, you know, Tetch is there. And like they're saying things to Robin, you know, taunting and stuff. And I'm like, where are they? I can't see them. There's just the Knights.
Yeah, they're in Arkham Asylum. They're in that corridor because you got all the cells going down the sides and then they're
right.
It took me a second to get that though, because I was like, "Where are these people?" And then I noticed behind.
Didn't even know he was under Arkham at that point because he's underground and he's climbing his way up.
Yeah, what I'll agree in terms of a complaint here, I'll say that they specifically tease that he's somewhere weird because he says, "Oh, I've been climbing up this vent for like 6 miles or something like that." He said, I don't know, whatever he said.
6 stories.
6 stories. That makes more sense than miles.
Yeah.
But he you know, it's like, okay, right. So wherever he is, he's going up high, or either that, or he was very deep underground. You know, whatever. Yeah. It's weird. It doesn't make more of a reason to say, or just more clear when he gets up. Hey, this is Arkham Asylum. Like, you know, that's the reveal.
I didn't get that, and that's why I was confused as to why all these villains were. It makes more sense now you've answered this.
So yeah, so the file's this guy taking off his mask and Damian sees him. So given that he knows a lot about Batman's armor and like tech, and given that he's showing Damian his face,
it's someone that we know.
It's someone that we know. It's someone that Damian and Batman will both know. Like
all we get here is he's got dark hair.
Is it? The boring answer here is it's going to end up being nobody from Batman and Robin.
The amazing answer is it's Rick Grayson.
Oh God, that's not amazing. That is not an amazing answer. I refuse.
It's amazing in the just the concept of doing it. Not that I want to read it, but
oh dear. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this issue. I didn't like it quite as much as the last one. Well, I do agree with the dialogue being a bit ropey from Arkham Knight. I can kind of just accept he's a bad monologuing villain. The actual action set pieces of the first half of the issue with the standoffs, I actually really liked. You know, the stare down before they drop their weapons and stuff. I like that stuff. I like Robin investigating and the tease at the end of like whoever this is, and you know, I enjoyed the issue. It wasn't necessarily as great as the last one, but I thought it was still pretty solid. Now, admittedly, we know Tomasi can quickly go downhill. I don't think he's done it yet, though. I think this was still.
This wasn't a terrible issue. I think I struggled a lot more than you did with the dialogue in the first half, and I was really confused by that second to last page. With that,
that's fair.
Stumped. But art's pretty good for the most of it, though.
Yeah, it feels a little bit old school as well at times. I think the art.
Yeah, I'm into it.
There's a was it? Yeah, it was this book. I think it was not all the bad books this week, was there? If I go back towards the start of the book, come on, tablet, don't let me down. Aye, there's times where Batman looked almost animated series because he had these white eyes, and it was making me
I
think.
can see that.
It was making me think of the animated series. I thought that's pretty cool. Although notably, Arkham Knight at one point did jump in and save a cop from a stray bullet.
Yeah.
And Batman notices, like, hey, he seems to care about the cops not being killed, even though he uses it to threaten them later. Although, given that context, you could almost argue that he also doesn't want any casualties, so he's like, hey, we should back down right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, I'm still into it. I'm still intrigued, annoyingly, because I wouldn't mind having an excuse to drop a double shipping book. But as of yet, I'm still into it. So.
I mean, I'm not surprised that Damian showed up because, I mean, Tomasi loves to write that character, apparently.
Yeah.
So,
if anything, if I have any complaints with Damian, is I almost think Tomasi's writing him like he's still where he was, like in terms of his headspace in the early New 52. It doesn't feel like he's at current post.
He's not
else.
quite that bad. He's not kill them all. He's like, just treat him a bit harsher. Give him a bit of a stronger one.
But it was just the way he said it. So just some of the lines of dialogue felt a little bit more like this feels like Damian from 5 years ago as opposed to Damian now necessarily. But
I'd say more 3 years ago, like before, maybe 4. Like it doesn't feel quite. It's not the start of New 52. He's not that far.
That wasn't 5 years ago.
No. It's still like post his resurrection. It's maybe even just start a rebirth.
I wouldn't say start a rebirth. I would disagree with that. But whatever. I never read anything from his resurrection to the end of New 52 with Damian, though, so I have no idea what he's sounding like during that period.
Fair enough.
Because I was reading like 2 or 3 DC books at that time, because a lot of them sucked. Oh wait, what are you giving Detective Comics 1002?
6.5.
I'll go 7.5. I can't call it great quite, but I was still into it. Hopefully it maintains. Do you think it can maintain at least a 7? I'll be pretty chuffed.
Yeah.
If it falls below that, then the scissors are coming out.
Here comes the axe.
Yeah.
I did get a little bit sad when you guys said Knights because, I don't know if you guys know, but my hockey team's out of the playoffs now.
Oh, I know. Only because you posted about it a million times.
Yeah, sorry. But I heard Knights and I perked up and went, oh no, they're not talking about that.
For the audio people, I was doing the silent violin there for like 30 seconds. I'm bouncing between Matt and Connor this week apparently because we're on the Action Comics 1010. Brian Michael Bendis writing, Steve Epting on the art. This is the next part of Leviathan Rising. We start off with a very interesting scene with Bones and what appears to be Manhunter, Kate. What's her face?
Yeah, Kate Spencer.
Kate Spencer, thank you.
Who we've seen in Green Arrow. She was Ollie's lawyer. So, bringing her into the fold, that's cool.
And, well, not really.
Doesn't let you get there.
Yeah, because she's basically asking all these. It's like she's debriefing him and saying, okay, who attacked? You saw whatever it was. What's going on? And very quickly,
he's clearly scarred from this.
Yeah,
very
quickly he kind of like, wait a minute, you're whoever this is. You're behind this. Yep. Because it makes no sense for it to be you, so you're disguising it. Whoever you are, you're here to do this because it's too sensitive to just send in someone else. So you're actually quite high up. You're in charge, even.
Right.
And we see as she leaves, like the image inducer or whatever, like goes away. And admittedly, it's hard to tell exactly because it's a pretty generic kind of look, but it looks like Talia.
It looks like Talia. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it confirms it later with what Lois and Clark find. Well. Their other names.
Chaz and
Chaz and Andy.
There was a moment when it cut to them, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I remembered the end of last issue, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Disguises."
It's so silly. I love it though. Like it goes the other way. It starts to be too silly, and then it comes back around. But here's the thing with Bones. I love that it showed how smart he is. Like, there's a reason why he was made director. Like, in the pages of Supergirl. When he comes in and kind of outs her from there, you're thinking like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy. But no, he's actually really good at his job as being a government agent. So it makes sense why Leviathan would want to take him off the board, like they did with Waller and Sam Lane.
Yeah, and Joe, I really like about the end of this scene when he does when he accuses her of this. There's a great couple of panels in the art where she just keeps the same face. He keeps staring at her, and then she smirks. She just has this sly smile, and he says, "I have powers," and as she's walking away, she says, "I have purpose," which it also implies that she does have some sort of big goal. But yeah, it looks a lot like Talia al Ghul. I'm just going to throw that there. Uh-huh. So. Yeah, so Chaz and Andy are in London.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look into Spiral. And they reference this flashback to when they were Chaz and Andy before. And I got really confused here for a second for a number of reasons. One, I'm like, okay, this is a flashback. Supergirl shows up in her old suit during this undercover operation. Okay, that's fine. So, it says Kate Kane, director of Spiral. Is that meant to be in the flashback? If so, how? And then, if it's not in the flashback, is she currently the director of Spiral? And if so, how?
Yeah, it's going to be in the flashback. As far as I know with Spiral was only around for Grayson. So, unless I'm forgetting something, and if I am, correct me, listeners. She was never part of Spiral. It was Huntress, or Helena Bertinelli.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, this whole thing where they talk about Nemesis, and where's it at? Yeah. And they're talking about the checkmate. So, because on one side you have members of Checkmate with Nemesis and White Queen Amanda Waller, Michael Holt, the White King, and then Count Vertigo, who looks different from what we've seen before. But yeah, I'm glad it was just a flashback.
It's a one-page thing, but it was a confusing page for me. So there's a nice little not flashback, but a nice little cutaway to Amanda Waller in the fortress, try to basically pump Kalex for information. And then Jimmy's like just taking photos, and as she puts it, paparazziing him. But yeah.
Well, and I like how she's like, "Well, where am I?" And Kalex is like, "Well, you can't leave." And she's like, "Well, are you not allowing me?" He's like, "Well, you're in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
There's nowhere really for you to go." And it kind of puts her at ease too, because it's not like she's being held prisoner. She just literally can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and Jimmy even says, "You're Leviathan, right? You tricked Superman into bringing you here so you could bring the world to its knees." And she just stares at him. But I like how it's kind of playing with the idea that could she be involved in Leviathan? Could she be?
With her, you never count the wall out.
Oh, yeah. So Chaz and Andy meet up with Tiger, who's not very trusting, of course. But it's not too long before the big mysterious, shadowy Doomsday-esque figure that we saw, before when the DEO and specifically when Waller and Lane were attacked. And, Superman... And actually, this was a really funny page because Chaz just, Superman's up in front of Tiger, and Tiger's like, "Chaz is Superman."
Uh-huh. And see, so Tiger was a character that was from Grayson.
Oh, yeah, I know
he was
Grayson.
Agent 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And him and Dick really had some great moments because he was Mr. Serious, and Dick was always, this is why I wish Connor was here for this, because it's where Grayson created the song based off the James Bond theme, and that was totally annoying Tiger. And so it was cool to see him here interacting with Superman. But so I'm trying to look up this Spiral with Kate Kane, because it does seem familiar, but that's because there it is. The character that Kate Kane was based on, the original Batwoman, was Kathy Webb, and that goes back to Secret Organization Spiral. We're talking, I think, Golden Age. I'm waiting. My computer's a little bit slow, but but yeah. So I think that's where Rucka pulled a lot of it. Okay, so maybe it wasn't Golden Age, but anyways, yeah. Dr. Daedalus, I think that's where all that came from. Oh, yeah, it's not going. But anyways, yeah. I like what Superman's up to go deal with whatever the shadow figure is.
Because the art's great. He flies him off into space because it looks like this robotic shadow figure, whatever he is, basically actually produces a bomb out of his chest because it's coming out as Superman's flying him up into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And Superman throws him into space, and we see the blue explosion that we've seen, because we've seen that, you know, when Jimmy was at the Cobra thing. We've seen this a couple of times. The art there is gorgeous, and then the issue ends with Superman coming back to the building he was in with Lois, and she's gone. She's missing. And then the final thing just says next Leviathan revealed. So, you know.
But so what's revealed here with Tiger, with Agent of Spiral, is that Spiral was created to keep tabs on superhero identities, to find out who they are, because people don't like secrets. But when you're going to spy on somebody, that's because you don't trust them or because you're the enemy. So that whole process of keeping check on the superheroes was faulty. So within Spiral, a counterintelligence branch was created that was Leviathan, right? Because that was like their Black Ops team.
Yeah, and naturally Lois says, or Clark says, yeah, but no, Talia created Leviathan, and he's like, no, she inherited it like everything else.
Which ties back to the woman that looked like Talia dealing with Bones, you know.
Which is probably
Talia. Bring her up here. Yeah.
But
I'm just saying, like, this is all using spy tropes too. So, you know, maybe someone's trying to frame Talia, right? In all of this.
Maybe.
There's all these possibilities. It's been ever since this was announced, I thought it was Talia, just because of her ties to Leviathan from Batman Inc. through Silencer and all of that. So it's probably Occam's razor being what it is.
No, I mean, the idea Leviathan was just created to give Spiral something to do is really kind of interesting. So, I'm
well, again, that ties into Grayson, because you find that out at the end that the person running the whole Spiral show, it's just basically an Ouroboros from Batman Inc. that Morrison put in there. It's a snake chasing its own tail, right? And so the fact that Bendis is going back and pulling that back out now to tell this story, I'm enjoying that a whole lot.
Yeah. Also, I want to note that at the end, the blast from the explosion actually burns off Superman's fake beard. I wanted to mention that.
With the beard, does he not remind you of Henry Cavill?
A little bit, yeah.
And that's got to be Epting's thing, right?
He's also actually, it's worth mentioning in the art, he's actually got like a blue glow around him, as if he's just doused in radiation from this blue shit.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he was like blasted into an alternate dimension or something like that, and that's why Lois isn't there?
I don't know.
I'm just
Talking Superman, our friend on Twitter was suggesting that maybe it's blue sun rays, which are, ties to Bizarro. I don't know how that ties in. The blue radiation.
Now you mention that, he does look a little bit colorless in the skin in that last page. He looks a little bit off. Although he still seems to be with it, mentally, but...
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, he is a little bit, sickly looking, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's blue solar energy, then we know that affects him differently.
Yeah.
Than which I forget just how. But it gives Bizarro stronger powers. I remember that, but I forget how it affects Superman.
Yeah. No, lots of interesting stuff. Again, the book's playing with the spy elements and the shadowy, mysteries behind everything. I'm excited to see this reveal of Leviathan next issue, because it does feel like, obviously we hear Leviathan, we think Talia, and she's clearly involved in some capacity, but is it because she's actually the mastermind behind whatever's happening, or is she just a pawn like everyone else? It's hard to say at this point. And if she is the mastermind, then what's her goal here? What is the ultimate plan? Lots of interesting things at play here. So,
and before we move on to the keeping with the grand tradition of the first pages that Bendis has been doing since coming to action, we have what looks like a sketch of that shadow creature and that Bones is looking at as he's piecing it together. you know, and he has Spiral written down, Agent Zero, Tiger's name's underlined. He has Amanda Waller's name, Sam Lane, Steve Trevor, Rick Flag, Bob Harris, which that cracked me up. Task Force X is circled, Cobra's knocked out, Adam Strange is circled, which is interesting considering that Strange showed up during the planet stuff in, was that Superman?
It was in Superman, yeah.
Yeah. He's got Thanagarian, Starro, Zudarian, Tamara, Door, and Fifth Dimension all written down. Argus. So I feel like these are clues that Bendis is giving us here about what's coming forward. But just like everything, there's a bit too much there to get the whole picture.
Yeah, he's definitely having fun playing with Superman mythos and history, and even just DC mythos and history at this point. But no, Action is one of the best books that DC's doing right now. And this issue was really, I mean, I think the confusing flashback page is the one sort of legitimate criticism I'd probably levy against it. Just because I was confused by a couple, I was like, okay, it's a one-page flashback, that's fine, but the roll call on either side made it more confusing than it needed to be, because I'm like, is that giving me the roll call for this issue, or is it just giving me the roll call for the flashback?
I'm feeling that's the what's the gun thing where you see a gun later,
Chekhov's
a
gun.
gun early in the Chekhov's. I feel that's Chekhov's roll call, that we're going to see these characters involved in the event Leviathan. So that's why they were put here.
Which is fine, because obviously Tiger shows up later, but I still think it's a confusing way of doing it, because it just made it feel weird. Like, I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, well, it made it feel like they were jumping right into the adventure, and then you see Supergirl in the skirt costume, and you're like, well, no, that makes no sense. So then you realize, oh no, this is their last adventure as Chaz and Andy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What would you? I mean, maybe it's actually like a scene from an old comic. Maybe this is actually something that happened in the 2000s. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But all right, I guess we'll rate it. What you giving Action Comics?
I'm giving this one 8.5.
8.5. Yeah, I'll agree with the 8.5. I think that's a fair score for this. Yeah, and Connor's still not back yet, but we can't wait for him.
Well, so update on Blue Solar Energy.
Okay.
Is, it was when Superman went to Bizarro Earth, which is just sort of spelled backwards. It makes him even stronger, but more unpredictable. So if this is a thing to basically overclock Superman, or whatever was in that suit was composed, was being powered by Blue Solar Energy. It's someone that knows something about that. But it's interesting for sure.
Well, okay. Well, Connor's not back yet, but I mean...
Oh.
Do we pause? I guess we pause. I think we'll pause until Connor comes back, and, 3, 2, 1... Oh, Connor's there. There you go, look at that. Magic. So Wonder Woman 69 is up next, and it is G. Willow Wilson writing with Xermanico on the art. So, this is an issue about a town that suddenly wants to have sex. Well, the town doesn't want to have sex. The people in the town want to have lots of sex.
I'm going to start negative, because we know I love Xermanico on the art, right? So when this issue started, I thought that the payoff was going to be that Aphrodite was watching a very terrible soap opera or reality show. And then I got to the page where the reveal is no, this town's under the influence of something. I still don't think that that is an excuse for some of the terrible dialogue there. I had big issues with it.
I don't know. I feel like if it's under this influence, they're being all soapy and weird because of the influence. It never really bothered me what the dialogue was.
Connor, did you read this?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I don't really have the problem with it that you do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Connor's coming out on the positive side of something? Oh.
So we're...
Oh, hold on. I
basically...
I need to process information, Matt. Let's not gloss over this. Connor's being positive.
I can be positive on things. I'm positive on lots of things. Just not shit things.
Positive on lots of shit Star Wars things.
I knew it was coming. I could have done the countdown. That's it. I feel like we're divided on Wonder Woman now. But, I mean, I feel like, for the most part, we're still enjoying it. But, we both come down on either end.
Yeah, basically everyone in this town, like, is just all the inhibitions are going away, and it's just anyone they want to have sex with, they're going to have to start having sex with it. And the couple who are like breaking up at the start are basically fighting over which one has to stay with the kids, which is the only fault that Wonder Woman really has. When Wonder Woman comes down and has to intervene, and they're almost at blows, she's like, yeah, I mean, love, do what makes you happy, but that doesn't take away your responsibilities. You still have responsibilities.
Yeah, when you say fighting over the kids, they mean which one has to keep the kids, not which one gets the kids.
That's what I said.
Yeah. I
said that.
Did you? I thought you said they were just fighting over the kids.
I said what they were fighting over which one gets stuck with the kids. I mean, that sounds. I think that made it clear.
I ignored half your sentence then, apparently.
Bloody hell.
That's the most Connor thing you can do.
So it's Wonder Woman and Aphrodite and Maggie flying over, and they come down and try and investigate what's going on, and then lots of Cupids show up, and Aphrodite gets control of them for a bit, but then something else, supersedes, and we get her daughter at the end. It's kind of the reveal who's behind all this and what's going on.
Who was hinted early, the Atalantiades.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that name, so I wasn't going to try.
Yeah, you got to read more mythology, Pete. It'll just roll off your tongue.
I'm good.
I will say that my favorite part in this issue, though, was when Wonder Woman comes down and, like, everyone's just kind of living their best life, right? And there's a dude wearing nothing but a guitar, and he's just jamming, right? And then she lands and takes a look at him, and he's just like, pleased as punch. And then she looks him over, and then she smiles and says, "Far be it from me to judge the desires of others." Just the way that whole thing plays out, it's like, I got a really good laugh out of that. Because of course Diana's not going to judge.
Yeah,
that's not her role.
And then the Cupid babies make a face, and then Diana flies through the face.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And I love how deep into mythology this is getting, because this is this is next level now.
Yeah.
Because
we all know that the Cupids were Eros. The Cupids are based on Eros, who's the god of love in Greek mythology, and that of course that comes out of Aphrodite, who's the goddess of love, and they're more demigods of love, right, than actual gods.
Yeah.
Either way. But they're not responding to her. They're responding to Atalantiades, who has both male and female.
Yeah, is also known as hermaphroditus.
Right, which they talked about early on, right? Yeah. Willow Wilson's been setting this up. So they're both male and female features, and it's interesting that's where that's where the Cupids have. They're no longer listening to Aphrodite, and Wonder Woman does like, well, the longer they stay away from Olympus, the more things change, I think Aphrodite says that.
It's nice in a DC book because it's almost a legacy thing, right?
Yeah.
Taking over from the mother. Yeah. In this case, I like it. Between this and Aquaman, I'm getting a healthy dose of mythology right now.
Yeah, it's really good.
I don't know about any of this shit, and I don't particularly care. And I think what's good about the book is that it doesn't feel like it's punishing me because I don't care about it. It's working perfectly fine. Knowing any of this.
It really, both Kelly Sue and G. Willow Wilson have made it really, like, if you wanted dive deeper into mythology, it makes the reading that much.
I feel like Kelly Sue's making a point of teaching me more of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Whereas this, it's like, if you happen to know this stuff and know why we're using these names and why these characters are doing what they're doing, that's fine. But if you don't, it doesn't really matter because it's more about the search. It's a search for the rest of the Amazons. It's all the hurdles in place of that. And that's what we're going through. And the actual storytelling is really good, so it doesn't matter that I don't know any of this shit. So
the other part that made me laugh was, I think it was Maggie's the girl's name. That's along with them that found the sword. Talking about the people, and they're all acting crazy, and the Cadmus looks at her and goes, "Yeah, who be it them or who's it for you to judge when you were like romancing a satyr yesterday?"
She's like, "That's different. I'll bet you $100 if you could explain how."
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was good.
Cadmus is really growing on me.
No, he's good.
So.
He's good. He's got sass. I actually, there was at one point early on when not at the start of the book, but when we first see them flying, there was a speech bubble coming from Cadbus, and I got confused for a second, and I went, "Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Pegasus can talk."
Yeah.
The hell is wrong
Also,
with you?
there's 2 pages that make like silhouettes
Mm-hmm.
that I thought was
the
really
man
cool.
and the woman.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool, especially foreshadowing for. I gotta look at it to say it.
So,
Atlantiades.
Yeah.
Atlantiades. I'll get it. But yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah,
call her.
those were great layouts.
I'm going to call her Auntie
Auntie.
for short.
But yeah, no, it's G. Wilson still doing it. Like I missed. I was here for the last one with Giganta, right? It was 2 ago that I missed.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's made me really like Giganta. This whole mythology stuff. I love when Wonder Woman really leans into it. Like as much as I like some of the the whole world peace stuff that other authors do, this is really my jam when it comes to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, no, I mean this is essentially the start of the 3rd arc, assuming this is a whole arc and not just like a 2-part or whatever. But like each time a new arc has started, I'm like, okay, what are we doing now? And each time I've felt rewarded by the end of the arc. So I'm and the art's great. Xermanico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Zero qualms there.
Zero qualms. Yep.
Yeah.
It's probably less flashy. I think I enjoyed the art and the Giganta stuff a bit more because there was so much epic like fighting giants and like action in that. Whereas this is a very action light issue of the book, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just it doesn't have the same let's show off what we can do.
I did enjoy when the Cupids looked all demonic.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I also love the way Xermanico draws Aphrodite. Like her hair's all wild and out, and
It's like there's always a wind machine.
I just love that take. She always looks majestic.
Yeah. What we rating Wonder Woman 69? And how suitable, by the way, is it the issue with this plot is starting with issue 69? Just I want to put that out there.
Probably intentional.
What are you giving it, Matt?
I'm into this an 8.
Connor?
An 8.5.
I'm going to go with a solid 8 as well. So that's Wonder Woman. We will move on then to The Flash, issue 69. Joshua Williamson writing with Scott Kolins on the art. And would you believe it, Flash 69 also has lots of sex in it?
Yeah, nice.
It does not. This is the wrap up of the Trickster arc, where Joe, credit to it because we were theorizing. We had the big cliffhanger last time with the cut off legs, and we even said it's probably just a Sage Force illusion rather than a real thing. But credit to the writing because that's immediately kind of what Flash and Commander Cold start to theorize. So it's like, okay, right, the characters are there with us. They're not, there's a shock value.
His legs are actually cut off.
Yeah, he's in shock for a bit, but once he calms down and starts to think about it, he's like, no, wait.
Can I just say that the thing that breaks Commander Cold is his anger, and I've never related more. Like, nothing snaps you out of happy just like anger. So.
Oh, dear. I don't know. Every book this week suffered because there was no Beard Hunter in it. Every single one. True.
Yeah. We found something beyond even the continuity wonk that is Matt.
I know.
Yep.
That's why he needs to watch Doom Patrol. He can discover the Beard Hunter.
He would love the Beard Hunter.
He would.
I had to shave my beard because the Knights lost in the playoffs, so I wasn't happy.
The Beard Hunter, Matt, consumes some beard hair, and then he can track and is connected emotionally to whoever that beard came from.
I got hair in my mouth getting my hair cut the other day, and they get on that guy for continuing to do that. No, thank you.
It's actually
it's horrific.
It's way worse than you're even thinking in your head, Matt. It's way worse.
No.
It's terrible. And if anyone's not been watching Doom Patrol, maybe they haven't got DC Universe, you should. It's Doom Patrol on its own is worth the subscription. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But also they actually revamped the comics in the last couple of weeks, and now it has everything.
Yes.
Pretty much, and it's good now.
Up to a year ago,
up to
right?
a limit, right?
Up to a year ago,
yeah.
And there's no Vertigo stuff, although with exceptions.
I'm looking forward to the Vertigo streaming service they're clearly going to do in addition to this.
No, because Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, was that published under Vertigo originally?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so that's on there. because Doom Patrol's a show.
What would be Swamp Thing?
I don't know.
That theoretically should be up there.
It might be.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Because they added, they've got Doom Patrol on there because, hey, Doom Patrol's a show. Maybe when Swamp Thing hits, they'll add a bunch of Swamp Thing Vertigo books. It's, and so on.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Flash basically goes around with a doohickey and breaks everyone out of their happy spell. The issue starts with the rogues just basically robbing every bank. And, they escape at the end with all their money. And because Flash was saving everyone first, because obviously that was more important than stopping them thieving, everyone gets away. And Iron Heights blows up. Iron Heights, at least right now, is no more.
It's gone. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be rebuilt, but... Because of the confession that he made Wolf admit, he's now in Belle Reve next to Commander Cole, so he's not too happy.
I'm surprised that confession stuck, given it was essentially under duress.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was enough evidence to go along with it to
Sure.
back it up. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so Barry's back in the crime lab because there's no Iron Heights anymore. And the issue ends with him coming into the lab, and there's this character who clearly knows who he is because he references, this is where everything changed, isn't it? Barry Allen. He's like, I don't know who you are. He's like, hey, there's stuff that you've forgot. And whoever this is, he's got the still force. In fact, he calls himself Steadfast.
Steadfast, yeah.
As you do.
It works. He looks a bit goofy. He's a bit,
it's the cloak, isn't it? It always looks schlocky.
It's a bit Mr. Oz. But he turns around and blasts him with this light. And this sets up Flash Year 1, which is starting next issue. There's one page of young Barry, Bartholomew Allen, or Henry Allen, sorry. It's just his mum shouting at him.
Bartholomew Henry Allen, yeah.
Bartholomew, yeah, Bartholomew.
You really can't say that name, can you?
Well, this is stupid. Barry's Barry. Barry's not short for anything. Piss off.
It is for Bartholomew.
I never heard of this long version until I started reading The Flash. I had never heard of it until then.
Really? Like, even Bart Simpson, that's what it's Bart's short for. It's Bartholomew J. Simpson.
Never heard of Bart being short for anything either. This is bizarre to me. No one I have ever met named Barry is short for anything.
Have you asked them, though? Like, are you sure about that?
Well, no, because you don't just go up to, hey, Connor's short for something else. And you're like, yeah.
No, because
but what I'm saying is, you're saying with certainty that all the Barrys you know are not short for anything. You're saying you just said that.
Well, I never heard of Bartholomew until the Flash had brought it up. It's not in this issue. It's mentioned in the TV show.
Yeah, well, it's on
previous issues. How's it on me? It's not my fault. I've not heard of something. Nothing pops up.
Well, also very short
stupid
from
logic.
A name in Gaelic, apparently. But it's also short for Bartholomew. That's the only things that are coming up. But no, there are plenty of berries. It says here, like especially in Ireland, that it's short. It's an anglicized version of a Celtic name. So I can see where Pete would know.
Thank you.
Some people named Barry, and it's not short for anything.
Yes, sure. Exactly. Next, you'll be telling me Gary. You'll be telling me Gary's short for Gartholomew. Next, you pricks.
Or Garfield.
Not everyone named Gary short for Garfield. No, that's not true.
No, but it could.
No, but it could be.
I'm still. How do we get Peg from Margaret and Dick from Richard?
Yeah,
those
Dick...
are the ones that are still my biggest.
Bob from Robert.
Yeah. And Bob from Robert.
Wait, Peg and Margaret? What? I've not heard this one.
Yeah. Yeah. Peg short for Margaret. So...
People are stupid. No, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Pete's having his mind blown right now.
Yeah. Peg for Margaret? No. Dick and Richard are stupid. Bob with Robert's stupid. The fact that Jim and James seem to be interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim is short for J. Like it's a short way of writing.
James. I thought Jim was short for Jimothy.
What?
No.
There's no such name as Jimothy.
No, I know. There's I forget what that wasn't a show.
It wasn't something.
Like, no. Yeah.
No, Jim being short for James is stupid because
it's like how Jack and John are interchangeable because people call John F. Kennedy Jack Kennedy, and I was like, no, his name's John.
Because again, I am pretty sure that the majority of people who are called Jim, they're not called Jim as short for James.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not.
Yeah, Jim Gordon. Hello.
Every Jim is short for James. Oh, well, virtually every Jim.
Except for
it-
our
on-
James that
on-
we
on
know,
the-
we just call him weird.
Most of them are James, and then that James has a decision to make upon their life. Are they going to be a James? Are they a Jamie? Are they a Jim? A Jimmy?
No one I've ever met called James has ever been referred to as Jim.
That's because they chose not to go by it.
They don't get dicks like you don't let people pick.
Of course you do. You go, what's your name? James. All right, cool.
Yeah, the only time I'm called Matthew is when I'm in trouble with my wife. Like, other than that, it's
No,
just
but
Matt.
Matt and Matthew make some amount of sense, right? They make some amount of sense.
Jim makes perfect sense. Like
No, it doesn't.
This is one that.
No, it doesn't. It's a different vowel. It doesn't make sense.
What about like? This was never a problem for you watching through Star Trek.
Hold on, what's Gary short for? That came up also.
No, I don't disagree
Let's
that
find
Jim
this out.
is used as short for James. I'm saying that doesn't mean I don't think it's stupid, because I do think it's stupid. But there's definitely people who are just called Jim. That's such a thing.
Gotta love Google. Under the suggested search is when was the last Gary born?
Probably about 12 seconds ago.
Yeah, probably sometime in the last couple hours. Yeah.
But Gary is derived from an Old English name meaning spear. So
Look at that.
It's a good strong
it's a
name.
Norman through Germanic origins.
Excellent.
Oh, etymology's fun.
Yeah. Like, obviously Peter gets shortened to Pete. That one makes sense to me.
I just don't see what your problem with some of these ones are. Like,
They're stupid. That's what I'm saying.
Jerry could also be long for Gerald with the GE, and it goes to GA.
If it's spelled with a G, I will accept that. If it's spelled with a J, it is not short for Gerald. I'm not having it.
I'm just saying. So, all right, let's go on to our next book now that we've talked etymology. Well, no, we still have to rate Flash.
Did we even talk about giving an opinion on it? No one's even said if they liked it yet.
I think that's quite telling, frankly.
I don't think it's a bad issue. It's just not that.
No.
It's not.
No. It's not a bad issue.
Yeah.
It's just, it's fine.
It's
right?
a fine
It
issue.
exists.
It's okay. Yeah.
But the fact that we spent
pulling a
5
trick.
minutes talking about names instead.
I did like how Trickster threw his parents off a building, though. That was a fun panel.
Yeah. Tricks on you. I'm gonna throw you off a building, you old bats.
Yeah. So yeah, Jim Jesse got away.
Yeah. But Pete, that doesn't work because he's based off of the outlaw Jesse James. So you'd have to call him Jesse Jim. Which now that just sounds bad.
Yeah, you can't do it with a surname. You can only do it with a first name to have that choice.
What are we talking about? Is James Jesse? His names are flipped.
Right, I know. Never mind.
It's because of what he's based on. You can't then change it because otherwise it's no longer doing the thing that it's based on.
I was being facetious. I wasn't being serious.
After Flash Year 1, are we gonna get to the Force Core? Like we're gonna
Probably.
have
Probably.
Forza, Steadfast, the what was the other, the Sage Force dude that we met.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember any of their names.
On the well, I remember Forza.
Yeah,
that's
Forza.
the Spanish word for strength.
Yeah. And we'll find out Barry's got a new shortened version of his name. It's Mike. It's gonna be Mike Allen.
Mike Allen's a strong name though. Sounds like a football player. Mike Allen.
Does like Mike and Mickey being short for Michael bother you?
That makes more sense. Although again, there's definitely people who are just called Mike, and it's not short for Michael.
I guarantee you that 99%
I've
of
never
them
known
on their
anybody
birth
that-
certificate, all of them say Michael on the birth certificate. It's just their parents decided immediately, but it's Mike. But you don't
Mike.
put Mike on the birth certificate.
I bet someone has. I bet someone has
Here's
put
one-
Mike
here's
on
one
the
that's kind of
certificate.
No, there's probably some that have, but 99%. Yeah.
Hank is short for Henry.
I knew a guy who went by Harry.
Wait, what?
But on his birth, yeah. I know a
Yeah.
guy who went by Harry, but his actual name was Henry. Yeah. That one was a doozy.
Hank.
Yeah, that's Hank one's
He-
stupid. No, but so you telling me that Hank is always just short for that? It's never just Hank.
Henry, yeah.
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 What?
It's
It's just
a
the
weird
parents
thing
make a
with old
decision
English
early
names.
on.
if you look at a lot of these names, they're very old English names. It's something happened with with how they were said back in the olden days versus how they're said now. I know that's what happened with Peg and Margaret.
Yes.
Because once I found out Peggy Carter's full name was Margaret, it blew my mind. Because why not just call her Meg? Right? Like it's more close. But so, anyways,
these parents are all dicks.
Because Margaret goes down to obviously Peg and Peggy, but it also goes down to Mag and Maggie.
Right.
Yeah, those ones make sense.
Right. But I'm just saying, from what I read when I was doing, I used to do this a lot because I had nothing else better to do. Was like an origin of names. So that I want to know where they come from. I have this curiosity of history.
Etymology is fascinating.
Yes. Well, then you have Connor with the ER versus the OR, and they're both wildly different from where they come
one
from.
N versus two N's.
Right. So, I like the Russians spell Peter without the second E, so just Petr. They ain't got time. They're freezing. They ain't got time for the extra E.
All right, well, explain why Spain spells it Pedro.
Well, that just goes back to Latin.
Yeah. This is all coming back from Latin.
Yeah.
Where and the translation from there. You can do that with a lot of the older
John.
names like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how little I care about any of this.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. So that's why I appreciate Connor, because Connor gets it. Connor gets my train of thinking.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the dick I want to be. I want to pick a name and put it in a birth certificate that is a different spelling from the regular spelling of a name, but not because it actually has a history, just because I'm a dick and want to spell it differently.
Well, then working at a school, I see that a lot.
Like, if I was going to name someone Connor, I'd be like, K-O-N-N-A-R. Connor.
Probably been done somewhere.
Because I really like the film Con Air, so I want people to say Connor.
or you really just love pirates.
Or you could actually use the Gaelic version of Connor, which is Conair, Connaire, and I actually knew someone called that.
Or I'll just spell it CON-AIR.
Then you're making him a Kryptonian.
Yeah, there's a good reason that there's a government oversight to these things. There's a department that says no, you can't have that name.
See, we don't have that here.
That's bullshit. They should have a say in who names what a kid what, with the exception of maybe naming your kid Hitler, which for obvious reasons you shouldn't do.
People try it.
Neo-Nazis try it, but
it gets stopped at least once or twice a year. I read a news story about that.
Yeah, but with the exception of obvious things like that, there should be no boundaries on what someone should name their children.
No. There's a department that's like, hey, if this is going to be cruel to the kid, we're just not letting you do it.
I remember when the prequels were coming out, this family, the woman went into birth while the Phantom Menace was playing, I guess. So they named their son Anakin Skywalker, and then whatever their last name was. And the dad was like, well, because he was such a good little kid that's who I would hope my son would become. And even the newscaster looks back after the thing and goes, clearly he's never seen the other films.
Yeah. I mean, Anakin on its own fine, but you add in Skywalker and...
Yeah.
Use it.
Well, it was just the justifications that they don't realize that this guy becomes Vader.
I mean, spoilers, Matt.
Well.
That guy clearly needed them.
Yes.
But to be fair, that's only a spoiler for Empire Strikes Back. You can't say it's a spoiler for the prequels because by that point everyone knows who Darth Vader is.
But it's a franchise spoiler.
It's literally on the poster.
It is. Yeah.
For Phantom Menace, yes, but
it's such a good poster.
But if the person's not saying Empire Strikes Back, you're spoiling Empire Strikes Back.
Right. That poster is much better than the actual film.
Oh, it's way better than the film. It's
that's the problem with the prequels. Anyways, Flash, huh?
Oh yeah, should we rate it?
What are you giving Flash,
though? Again, it feels right. Scott Kolins on Flash.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I like this. I mean, the guy in the crime lab came out of nowhere at the end, but I was actually like, oh, I'm excited for year one. I want to see like a proper year one.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm a little bit trepidatious going into it.
You were either going to change things or add an extra bullshit that.
Well, they're definitely going to change something because it ends with there's something you've forgotten, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, unless that, I don't feel like I really need it.
Well, I got excited because I was wondering if it was going to be like You've Forgotten because it's pre-New 52, and it's going to be like elements of the origin, which technically were always there, but is new to this Barry.
So I feel like this is going to tie something with Jay Garrick because the panel, in this essence,
does have a little like a J helmet.
It lingers on Mercury / Hermes. There's these Greek god figures, almost like role playing figures, you know, on Barry's windowsill.
Helmet there nicely, don't you?
Yes, you do. So,
really, I'm just like, it might be very good. I'm just trepidatious about the fact that we're going to take 3-4 months off. How long this is? I don't know if it's only 6 issues or not. Just to do year one.
What's J short for then?
J's just short for J.
I don't know. Maybe it's short for something.
Because if you said Jason, I wouldn't have argued with you because I could at least see the argument for that.
It may be a nick. No, these are just nicknames.
I'm looking up J right now.
Yeah.
I'm now questioning like every name that I know.
It may be a nickname for Jane, James, Jamie, Jacob, Jared,
Javon,
Jeremy, John,
Jimothy.
Basically, it's any name beginning with J, and then it's you're calling them like the first letter, and then it became a name and stuck like that.
Yeah.
I think that's meant to be.
It's also from the Hindu influenced cultures. J or J, like the way that it was spelled with Wally's son. Is common first name for a male derived from the Sanskrit word for win or victory.
Yeah, see, that makes a lot of sense coming from that side of the world. I think in the Western side, there's maybe a little bit of cross-pollination, don't get me wrong. I think more likely in the Western, it's stuck as, you had a mate called, you had 3 mates called John, and you called one of them Jay for short, and it stuck as a name, and it went through that. That's probably how that came about.
All right. Thanks, Mike and Kant.
Wait, what?
You couldn't think of anything better.
I like what cunt sounded kind of like.
I bet you did.
Yo, can we talk about Jeff and Jeff, like Jeff Johns? What's up with that?
Oh yeah, I don't know what that spelling of Jeff is. His family or the history behind
Jeff and Geoff.
Yeah, the Geoff.
So
we all call him
just
Geoff.
to swing this way back around once again. We need to rate Flash before we carry on with this.
Yes, Matt. What are you rating Flash?
It's a 7. I still enjoyed most of it, but like,
I
want year 1.
Yes, I will jump in for that very unprofessional yawn. I'll give it a 6. It's fine.
Yeah, I like the rogue side of things actually quite a bit, so I'm going to agree with the 7 because I like that the rogues kind of get away with all this money and they're all out in the open now and they're all run off. I like that part of it. That was
we totally talked about Flash there.
It was in there somewhere. That'll take us on to Batgirl 34, and we'll try and actually talk about Batgirl for the duration of this section.
Does Babs bother you?
Does Babs? No, I understand that. Barbara Babs.
Well, yeah, that's just a diminutive form.
Well, do you know the biggest problem I have with a lot of names that are short? Just I'll get this out of the way. The biggest problem I have with a lot of short names is not only just that they don't make sense from what they come from, it's that I don't understand why they needed to be shortened in the first place because they're only 2 syllables. Sometimes even only 1. Barbara is like 4 syllables, so I get why that needs to be shortened.
What's wrong with Barb?
Barb. It sounds shit. But some things just sound better. There you go.
Sure.
Some things just sound better. Yeah, that's my thing. So anyway, Mairghread Scott, Paul Pelletier, whatever his name is, on the art. So this is start of a new arc. Kind of, and probably
still having some fallout from the last issue, which I wasn't here for.
Yeah,
of that involved James Jr. and that whole side quest, which felt was odd timing.
Side quest is a good description.
Yeah, it was a 1 issue thing, just dealing with him.
Because I had to go back and re-look that over because I thought I missed stuff. Right? Turns out I didn't. But here we get one of my favorite concepts from the animated series. With the Terrible Trio.
Oh yeah, it's
I made time to read this. I let the guys know because I had a really hectic week at work, and I didn't get to read all my comics this week. and I told him I only have this many left, but I made sure I timed for Batgirl real quick.
Yeah,
I saw the
because you
cover.
almost missed 3 of the books you were going to read,
Yep.
but then you squeezed them in Batgirl, so there's only 2 you
Yep.
missed, which we'll get to what
Yep.
those are later. But yeah, you got the vulture, you got the fox, you got the shark,
Yep.
and they're behind Cormoran, and they want to lure in Batgirl, and they're up to something. So when we go to Batgirl, she's you know, looking kind of funky because Pelletier's mouth, as always, is bothering me. And there's several examples. But someone sends a severed hand,
Yeah.
to
That's always a good warning.
Yeah. And it's in a box as well, so it's, it is very much a what's in the box moment.
Those little polystyrene chips.
that does
Just to
actually
make sure
right.
it wasn't damaged.
Yeah, just in case.
That cracked me up.
But
what's cool about this is the hand is more than what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like the DNA of one person, the fingerprint of another, I think, and then like the ring belongs to a third person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that these are actually the trio wearing the masks. Was it just me that was thinking that maybe like this is all a ruse and because they all go missing, but I don't think any of them are actually they've found their bodies.
I would say that, but the woman that is Vulture doesn't match.
Sure, yeah,
the woman that's
she's
missing.
clearly white.
Yeah. And the woman in the hand belongs to is clearly not. But
that said, I do feel the ones responsible for these are the people in the costumes because they're so cocky they think they can get away with it.
Yeah.
It's entirely Fox who's done this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Babs is looking into them, but they're obviously expecting her. There's a subplot sort of running throughout where the company's in trouble, the one she runs, to the point where she's got this new apartment, but it turns out her check is bounced, so her stuff's all getting thrown out. Bard seems to have a crush on Babs and wants to try and be nice. He shows up at her place. And given her dislike of him, that feels like a bit of a long shot, but I mean, go for it, Bard. You never know.
But he's kind of like, new year, new me.
Might get kicked in the nuts, but it's fine. You can might as well.
Yeah, I try to set up your dad for corruption that he didn't do, but that's the past. I got shot in the knee. I have a cane now.
Yeah, things are all good.
Yeah. So they basically have this kind of what would I call this? Gathering with it's all the wealthy in the city, right?
Yeah, the wealthy people. And they tell them because they work in threes that hey, stick with us and give us a third of your fortunes, and we'll do some black market stuff. On your behalf.
We'll protect you from the police, the lawyers, and then also the bats. And because basically they've lured in Batgirl to this trap, and she's in a straitjacket. She's in like a proper like magician's escape artist kind of tank.
Yeah.
In a straitjacket. That's how we end the issue. I actually quite like these villains. I think that like Cormoran was fine in terms of like his threat level, because I like the whole he's coming for the TV station stuff.
But he wasn't that interesting.
Yeah, whereas these three, Fox especially, are a lot more interesting than Shark and Vulture. They've got an interesting look.
Can we talk about just the sublime quality of their masks?
Yeah,
the masks look good.
They're top level. The Shark one, and I like how each of them they play up that part, because like the Vulture, right? If you look how they are, they got the bald head, but then like she wears that boa that looks like like a thing, and then Fox is all keeping it together and real slim and like
suave.
Yeah,
suave. There you go. And then the Shark's just this big, huge, bulky, massive.
Yeah,
dude.
he's the brute. He's the muscle.
Yeah.
And so I love those concepts and seeing it way back in the day on the animated series. So anytime they show up, I get pretty excited. So I saw them on the cover.
Which isn't often, is it?
No, it's not. And so I feel like they're the perfect foils for Babs, right? Because there's the three of them. They kind of are like, I don't want to call them masterminds, but they're never just like, let's go rob a bank. There's always something more to it.
Yeah.
So, they're behind Cormoran. But no, it was an enjoyable issue. I mean, again, the art from Pelletier is kind of...
Yeah, I like it a lot more than you do.
Like, the masks look good, but his human faces for me are just rough.
Yeah, I will say though that I like a lot of like when they go to the den, where this club that is the thing that's tying all the crimes together that Babs is investigating. Just the image of all the people in their masks and like it's very Eyes Wide Shut, like
Yeah.
secret society. And I feel like the tone there with them kind of in the shadows and the trio up in the light and spotlighted, I feel it's a really well composed scene.
But this wasn't issue 69, so they couldn't burst out into an orgy.
Nah, give it time.
Oh dear, what are you giving it, Matt?
I'm gonna give this an 8. We also didn't talk about the. It seems like a company's coming for Gordon Clean Energy.
Yeah, European company, and they seem to have already succeeded in some extent because Bab's check bounced, as I said. So we'll see how that goes. Carl, what are you giving it?
I'll give it a solid 7. It's good.
Yeah, I'll go with a 7 as well. I'm enjoying it. The art's just maybe dragging it down a little bit for me, but okay. Which will take us on to Justice League Dark issue 10. James Tynion the 4th, writing Alvaro, Martinez on the art. You two are reading this, so take away.
So Connor, you read this one?
Yeah, I did.
So Naboo's a dirty, filthy liar. They were never Lords of Order. They were just magicians that somehow got to the realm of the gods and have been posing as gods.
This is new to me. I don't know if this is new, or if it's something that has happened in the past.
I don't know either, but I like it.
All of my experience reading Fate books, which I've not read everything,
right?
But they've been godlike. They existed before time. So yeah, this is.
But it ties in with Tynion, who's doing a lot of the stuff with Snyder.
Yep.
Right, and this spun out from all of that, so it ties it into the multiversal order.
Yeah.
That the reason that Naboo and the Lords of Order could pose as the Lords of Order is because they attained into the sphere of the gods.
Yeah.
And when they had done that, because of how the multiverse is, it empowered them. So they might not have started as gods, but they essentially became gods, which I like. But this all comes from we saw what Khalid was. This is what he had saw. So he's explaining all this to the other members of the Justice League Dark who are on Mira.
Because Khalid followed Fate into this realm and, learned of their plan to kind of just, we'll just sacrifice everyone magical.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And then we'll start new.
Well, not even that, because they'll be gone as well. They'll just let the world start itself new. And because there'll be no magic, it will be inherently more orderful than chaotic.
Yeah, because
I don't know if orderful is a word.
Well, no, more ordered, you could say.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that because magic is inherently chaotic.
Yeah.
And so I like that he's creating this pole of order versus chaos, and that the guys that want order are kind of just as bad as the ones that only want chaos.
Yeah.
Which the other kind. And
the other important thing from here as well, though, is that we learned that Ken is still fighting back to some degree. He hasn't got a lot of control. He can't really do much, but he manages to stop Naboo killing Khalid. The best he can do is lock him in the vase. But Ken has something in there, so I expect that to come back up into play of Ken making. And
so Khalid explains to everybody on Mairghread that the reason that the Lords of Order are taking it apart is they get more power by destroying these outer realms. And when they destroy these outer realms, like Mairghread, like the Gem Worlds, that'll lead them to these bigger ones that have more belief, like heaven and hell. And so they're doing this on one side. The other kind are coming through, and that they're hoping that this order versus chaos will cause the multiverse to reset. And because they're taking advantage of Perpetua and all of that stuff, taking that energy from the multiverse. So I'm guessing they're referring to like the Monitor and the World.
I assume so. Yeah.
That it's taking the effort away so they can do this and just restart everything in full order. And so you get Bobo being all depressed that he can't save Mira, and that he let down.
Him.
Yeah, that was good. But ultimately, he let down his friend, the Night Master, who left him the sword.
Yeah.
And then we jump to Zatanna and Wonder Woman, who come across a revelation of their own from Cersei.
Yeah.
That it turns out that Zatara knew this was all coming, and there was only one person that he could trust to ensure his plan to stop this would come. And it turns out it's the one and only John Constantine.
Because everyone knows he's the most trustworthy person in the universe.
Yeah, but it does tell me though that Zatara knew that someone underhanded would have to take care of this. Like he couldn't trust Zatanna because she's too.
Yeah, she's too good. I mean? Yeah, no, I'm with you, and it's also maybe not too good just in general, but not willing to make the hard calls.
Yeah, that's what.
Whereas Constantine will.
Right.
It says a lot at how big a deal this is, though. That I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to trust Constantine.
Well, it's that, and like my dad didn't believe in me enough that he trusts this flipping Hellblazer over me, and then that it was cool that we got to see her. So she goes out of the realm because Cersei tells her all this, in one of the other kind attack, and it's the one that steals your skin. Yeah, it has like the baby thing, and that. Cersei's like, well, you can't attack, or Wonder Woman tells her, you can't attack that thing with your magic. It'll just go right through it. And she's like, yeah, but I thought about this. I can impact the world around the other kind with my magic. And so you see this thing where she casts a spell using her backward language where she picks up all the stones and the dirt and basically concretes the other kind into the earth and defeats it. And her and Wonder Woman are up on their plan, so they're back looking for Mairghread because they know that they need him because he's a Lord of Chaos, and it seems like they're going to be striking for balance here. That Mairghread's going to have to get some more Lords of Chaos, which I hope that's where it's going. You know, and then we see that of course Cersei has her own plan here because the Upside Down Man comes in and they have a chat that. She's basically running her own play that's going to get rid of these magic doers.
She's got her own agenda, as to be expected.
And that the Upside Down Man is like, you're not going to be safe either.
She's like, we'll see about that.
Yeah, and we get to Mairghread, and the Lords of Order make them a deal because the other ones go off back to Earth to do what they need to do. And I don't remember all their names, but it's the one with the cloak.
I don't remember the names either.
Makes a deal or proposes a deal like, hey guys, all of you guys are magic. If you trade your magic for your lives, we'll send you back to this Earth. You'll have no memory of anything, but you also won't have magic.
But you'll be alive.
But you'll be alive. You don't take the deal, I'll kill you where you stand. And so. That's where the book leads us.
Which is a huge thing for some more than others. Like, Blue Devil, for example, would return to being a person.
Right?
A dead man would just die, and Boba would just become a chimp.
Right. But what would that mean for, like, Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade?
Yeah. Like, what about Swamp Thing?
Yeah. Well, that leaves the Earth without a Defender of the Green.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really not order. So it makes me wonder if this is not quite the choice. And I feel as Nightmaster, but we've got something up his sleeve here.
No, but I think that's Orchid I can see in there as well, who's often a protector of the red.
Yeah, Black Orchid's there. You have Lady Frankenstein. You have. I'm trying to pull up that last page. Yeah, but it's really a good who's who of magic heroes of the DCU. And again, this is starting to remind me of Day of Judgment, where there's going to be a restructuring. Like all these old magic things are going to go away in order for a new age of magic to start.
Yeah, which I'm looking forward to. I love the magic side of the DC universe, and I hope we get
Clarion's
more.
there. Looks like Black Alice.
Yeah, I think that's Etrigan around the back. Well, not Etrigan, sorry, Jason Blood.
Jason Blood. He's older.
He's aging quickly, but he's still got some magic that he's learned himself that's kind of keeping him going.
But yeah, so we'll see where this goes with them, because I can't imagine they're going to take the deal, or else there's no book going forward.
I think a couple of them might.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
Yeah. But no, the art's pretty decent. Like it does a lot of.
It's on par with the book, isn't it? It has been.
Yeah, it's the page I really enjoyed was the with the Upside Down Man just pops into existence behind Cersei.
That's good. Yeah, there's a couple of key pages that I really like. Near the start, it's fate, and it's the layout is split by a big ant symbol.
Yeah.
That's real good. And also, I just realized the page where something's kneeling down and comforting Bobo. The lighting on that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Yeah. But yeah, so Lords of Order, complete liars. They're never really gods. They're never really lords. They put themselves in that place after being the primo magicians. So
yeah,
which I like. I like any time that someone can come in and shake this thing, because magic is a spot that I do have a blind spot. So, them coming through, restarting it, makes it a lot easier for me to want to read it.
That's true. Yeah, it's appealing for a lot of people, I imagine.
Yeah. So yeah. So what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it an 8. It's good. It's real good.
Yeah, I too. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Oh. I'll wake up on.
Yeah, there you go, Pete.
Oh dear. Alright. That was just like dark. We will move on to the Terrifics issue 15. Luen Yang writing with Steven Segovia on the art. And Matt has done me dirty and didn't read this book.
Hey man, you take that up with my work. I had 0 time this week.
First Luen Yang issue.
I know. I'm going to read it. I just did not have time today before we recorded. Is that a Batgirl? And this didn't have the terrible trio, so I made a decision.
Yeah. So it picks up where we left off, more or less, where Miss Terrific from the other Earth is sticking around, and Michael's on a date with her, and he does this great thing where he's talking about when he had to identify her body, his wife
from the car wreck,
the car wreck, and he mentions that he knew it was her even before he saw her face because of the scar she had on her hand. There was a scar between her thumb and her finger, and he talks about they're at this date, and she's saying, "Oh, this is like a miracle where I thought I lost my husband, but here you are in front of me, and I'm here for you." But in his narration, he says, he's holding her hand. He's like, her hand's smooth and scarless. And it's just this idea that even though she does seem like it's his wife, it's not exactly her. There are some differences. It is, as much as this seems like a perfect thing for both of them, it isn't necessarily, but later on she kind of like agrees, yeah, it's not, you're not exactly my husband and I'm not exactly what your wife was, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't find something in each other that is comforting. It becomes a bit of an ideological debate as well, because she's very religious and talks about how she prayed for things after he died. And obviously he's very much a man of science, so we got that. But there's a giant monster attacks mid-date, and the other Terrifics are all fighting them. It's a big snake, and both Plastic Man and Metamorpho turn into big snakes as well to try and fight him. So
they defeat snakes.
Fun, crazy action, but they end up getting swallowed. And when Phantom Girl goes inside the big snake, something weird goes on where it's like, hey, there's not really like any insides to the snake. There's no blood, there's no guts, there's no nothing. It's like a digital construct in the inside. What's going on? This is weird. And then, sure enough, later up, it turns out, well, actually, I should just mention, when they defeat the snake, there's a digitized kind of villain who refers to herself as, who are you? Where's she say it? I am his herald. Oh, I'll be honest, I remembered her saying I am herald, and I thought, I'm sure I've heard that before, but she says I am his herald. So yeah, okay, it's a new thing. It's a new villain. So yeah, but it turns out Stag's putting on a demonstration. Stag's got his daughter and Metamorpho's there. They're showing this general this new. It's essentially a holodeck for training purposes.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, pick a mode, and they pick this, and they end up on a beach, and these Marines or whatever came out of the water, and basically they go off. But it's basically a holodeck episode of Star Trek Next Gen where the holodeck's malfunctioning, and they start trying to shoot them. So Metamorpho's kind of like protecting them. But what makes this different from the regular holodeck from Star Trek is that these digital soldiers actually sort of end up leaving the room, and the fight spills out onto like the campus they're at. And this is where Linya's with Plastic Man, and they're talking, and he's eavesdropping on the new date that Mr. Terrific is having with Miss Terrific. but it all sort of spills it onto them, and the action ensues, and the Plastic Man is getting hit with bullets, like it is real things. Although amusingly, there's a lot of video game references here, where I say references. There's references in the sense that they kind of compare it to video games, and when it starts to malfunction, I think Stag's daughter makes the soldiers get health bars above their head, so they literally have health bars above them, and it's like, hey, just hit them enough until the health bar goes away.
Yeah.
Until it's depleted. There is one really awkward reference to Fortnite, which I thought was weird.
Okay.
Where what was the line? It was something like someone says, "Oh, you mean this is like what part of the application for this tech is that this will eventually be for video games?" Like, "Oh, my kid will be playing this," and I think someone says, "Oh, it sure beats Fortnite."
It could be true.
And it probably does beat Fortnite, but like I don't know, it felt like a weird name drop. I don't know. It's also bizarre that it's the second thing I've with a Fortnite reference in it that I've noticed this week.
As someone that works around kids that play Fortnite, that would have angered me.
Yes.
You get used to it.
So sick of hearing about Fortnite.
Yeah.
No, because I have to stop them when they're in line for lunch from doing those stupid dances. It's like, go outside then. Like, oh.
Yeah. So the soldiers get their masks taken off, and they turn out to actually be like frog people.
That's a swerve.
Yeah. No, it's all, and then eventually Miss Terrific, who wasn't in costume to begin with, shows up in costume with her T-spheres. And actually, T-cubes. She doesn't have spheres, she has cubes. I should get that right. And drains the moisture out of the frogs. And then Mr. Terrific's like, hey, how did your cubes do that? It's like, yeah, well, we can compare tech later. We got things to do. Yeah. But basically, she and Plastic Man, because he went to Catholic school, and she realised that, wait a minute, the big snake, big serpent, then we had frogs, and then what's next? And then, of course, next we have the locust coming in, and they're like, hey, Curtis is like, okay, oh no, it's not Curtis, Michael. Wrong, Mr. Terrific. Michael's like, hey, wait a minute. For those of us who aren't familiar with all this mythology, what are you saying here? It's like, yeah, we're not fighting some video game thing. We're fighting God basically, because the plagues of Egypt are coming.
Oh boy.
But they do appear to be digital in some capacity. Something's causing this. So obviously we're not
maybe
really.
It's the new Assassin's Creed.
So obviously it's not really
Plagues of Egypt.
It's not really God, obviously, but it makes for a fun final line as Plastic Man shouts it out. But yeah, so no, I enjoyed the issue. The character voices are there. We kind of knew that from the annual. Yang was going to handle this pretty well, and it was going to be a smooth transition. And I like that Miss Terrific is also sticking around and feels like we've expanded the team a little bit. So that's good too. Yeah, it was good. Art was solid. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mentioned Stephen Segovia. At the start. I like Segovia's art actually. It's not necessarily identical to what the books had before, but I like Segovia when it was on Action Comics for a while, a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got a nice clean style that lends itself to the book. So yeah. If I'm rating it, I think this was a solid 7.5.
Okay.
So hopefully next time when we get the next issue, Matt will have read it and we can discuss it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like it was fun. Plastic Man and Metamorpho, because actually there's a really fun part where the floods are coming in or not the floods, but the characters are the soldiers coming out of the water, and he's trying to protect everyone. So he kind of forms a wall at the shore, but his head's sticking out in the top of the wall in the middle. There was I don't know, just fun imagery, fun things going on. But that was terrific. Which does take us on to the Silencer issue 16, which is Dan Abnett writing with V. Kenneth Marion on the art. This is the sister, the evil sister who killed the brother from Silencer.
Smoke.
Yeah, Smoke's the name. Which I remembered because I'm pretty sure there's a Mortal Kombat character called Smoke, and I thought of that.
Oh, there definitely is.
When they mentioned it.
Originally, he was just a copy of the the Scorpion, and
yeah.
But he was gray.
Yes.
That's how he was different.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Reptile was before Smoke, though, right?
Oh yeah, because Reptile was the first Easter egg character,
Yeah.
I believe, and then Noob Saibot came later. Apparently, the new Mortal Kombat's legit. I don't have time. I would love to play it though.
It's full of microtransactions, though, by the sounds of it.
Oh, screw that. See you later.
Yeah.
I think
So-
someone worked out
You-
to buy it all, it would cost like $6,700.
You have Uncharted games and God of War to play, Matt, so you
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I know.
Priorities.
play it to
Also
them.
Battlefront 2, as I realized I had. So
You realize you had
there's that.
Battlefront 2.
Yeah, a couple months ago, my brother-in-law brought it over. He's like, "Here, you can have this. I don't like it," and I was like, "Oh, cool!" And I put it on my shelf.
I
it was
like
the
your
first
brother more now.
Battlefront. Yeah, and so, well, he only likes sports games for the most part. So, and then Alden met the actress that was in it, Janina Gravenkar,
Yes.
and he's like, "You should really play Battlefront 2. You would enjoy it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's another game to get." And I thought, wait, I have a Battlefront. Which one do I have? So as we're getting ready to watch Avengers, I go to pull it out of the shelf, and right there's Battlefront 2. So I add that another game to the list.
Silencer. So Silencer shows up to grab Smoke when she's on the move. And some of the best stuff about this book is the action, because that 2-page spread of her riding in the motorbike is fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and then so basically, Talia's over the comm saying, Silencer, kill her right now, just kill her. And it's like, can't. She turns into smoke, bullets ain't doing shit.
And then she's saying to quiet us on the side, going, get the airstrike ready.
Yeah. And basically, Smoke can kind of sense, her memories or her history, and says, you care about this family, blah blah blah. And Talia is starting to suspect that maybe the reconditioning didn't quite take.
And then and obviously Talia's hearing this, going, damn it, I knew it.
Yeah. And Quietus is kind of on her side, though. Quietus is kind of on the sly, talking to Honor a lot about what's going on. But we have this chase scene where basically Smoke's announcing that she's going to go after Honor's family. So we have this great action scene where she's chasing her on the bike and she's in this purple car.
Yeah, because it turns out that her quiet powers, because they stop vibrations, essentially, that's how they work. Right. It stops Smoke vibrating at a molecular level to phase the way
smart.
she has been.
Yeah, so she's...
Matt, your mic's gone.
Your mic's gone, Matt, yeah. But it does make it mean that she's kind of a natural nemesis and that she can actually counteract her power in some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a great 2-page layout here where Smoke intentionally drives the car she's in into an oil tanker, which completely blows up. And, Honor has to kind of skid the bike to avoid going into it. And, it kind of puts her out for a bit, and she's kind of left in a bad place. Luckily, the drones that Talia sent to bomb her kind of show up at this point, so Honor does not get killed, but she's, talking to Quietus back at a motel, over the comms, and, hey, I need to get to my family, and Quietus is no, Talia wants you here. I can stall her for 24 hours if you want to go and save your family, but that's all you've got. So... Yeah. And Smoke goes and kills some of the weapons dealers that Leviathan use. So there's a bit of an action sequence there. But ultimately, we have back at the house, kids going to bed, dad's reading the story, and he gets this mysterious call saying, "Hey, we work for the security company. You have to leave now. Something bad's coming." And he's not willing to believe them. He thinks this is all some crazy hoax. And then the book ends with. Probably this book's had some really good cliffhangers. This one is just Honor comes in the window, and remember he thinks she's dead, but she comes in the window in full Silencer costume and just says, "Hello, Blake. Don't make a sound." And it's all right. So if this is wrapping up in 2 issues, which it is, it feels like we're ending with him finding out who she is, and she's going to have to save her family.
Sweet.
So
it's a pretty good ending.
Yeah, it's all ramping up.
It sticks.
Yeah.
Man, how great would it be that she shows up and saves Lois during Leviathan?
Oh sure, that'd be great.
That would make me so happy.
I think it is going to stick just because it's the last 2 issues. I think we're ending. So
no, I didn't mean stick as in they go through with it. I meant stick as in stick the landing.
Oh sure, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So no, I've really enjoyed Silencer. I'm actually really sad it's ending. I think it's become a really consistent action book, and I am all for Honor and Silencer showing up wherever else she pleases.
It became the surprise hit of this this imprint.
Yeah, this and Terrifics. Well, and then Sideways was good too.
So it was
Well,
good too.
here's the thing. Terrifics wasn't a surprise, though.
No, we expected that to be good.
That was the one we thought, that's the safe one.
That was the one sure hit, but Silencer was the genuine surprise of this is actually great. Especially once we switched artists, and then I think the last couple of batches of books, the last couple of arcs, and it have been especially good. So, I hope that eventually like a hardcover or something with like just all 18 issues, just as like a hey. I think it was actually 19. It was an annual, wasn't there? So 19.
It was an annual, yeah.
Yeah.
A small omnibus.
Yeah. But I really like it. I think it seems like it's going to more or less tell a complete story. You know, this is a natural place to kind of build up to as our family finding out and ultimately breaking away from Talia.
And then still leaves it in a place where we can have more adventures later.
Potentially, yeah. Although if they want to sell it as though she actually does get out of the life and just gives her a happy ending, that kind of works too.
Oh, yeah, but I think it's the sort of thing where you can do that, but it's always there where we can call her back into action if needs be.
I don't think it'd be Talia though necessarily. I feel like Talia could be the reason why she comes back, but it may not be like Talia's the one.
I don't necessarily mean Talia. I just mean, okay, shit's going down.
Leviathan Rising is a really like the whole Leviathan event. If they somehow work Silencer into that because of her connection to Talia, that could be great.
Yeah, that's what I would love. Like she's a free agent,
place for it, isn't it?
Yeah. And man, she ends up like we end up getting Checkmate. She ends up being one of the main like field ops. I forget. I don't know all the titles. I still have to read that book, but they're all based off of chess pieces.
Yeah. So
she could be like the Black Knight or the White Knight or whatever of Checkmate. That'd be dope. Well, not Checkmate, but you know what I mean. An organization like it.
Yeah, but I mean, the standout for me, I mean, the cliffhanger is great. The what it's building up to is great. Yeah. I love the action scenes though. That chase that ended with the tanker was just great. It felt like an action scene in a movie, like a well done one.
I loved in
with the
last
bike crashing
issue
through the wall.
Yeah.
I love in the last issue the thread with Blake and the security guys that are there for his own protection, and he starts getting wise to him. He's like, "Well, wait a minute. If you're from the security company, why y'all dressed like Secret Service?" Like, so the fact that they're still in there, whatever purpose they serve, I'll give this a read.
We're a classy security service. That's what.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah. We give it a car.
I will give it. I'll give it a 7.5.
I'm giving it an 8.
It's real good.
I'm going to give Silencer an 8. Really. I mean, I've typically always really liked this book now, but it's a really good issue. Which will take us on to Dial H for Hero issue 2. Sam Humphries writing with Joe Quinones on the art. This is me and Connor reading this because Matt wasn't here for the last issue, but he really didn't like it.
I really didn't like it.
He hated it.
He hated it.
And I don't understand Matt sometimes.
He's a mystery.
We could talk for hours about the etymology of names. Yeah, he doesn't like Dial H.
Nah. It's far too... I'm not a fan of the dialogue and the story, and just everything's like feels like a cartoon, right? But a cartoon that I would not enjoy watching. So like the art's great, but everything else about it, I was just big with.
Super expressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Miguel's on the run with the girl who they ran away together in the truck last issue, and there's several people from the Thunderbolt Society or whatever they're called coming after the phone, yeah, the H dial, and so they're basically fighting about what he's spending money on breakfast, and whether should even go anywhere, and he actually kind of wants rid of the phone. He's sick of this responsibility. The operator calls him up and says, "Hey, they're coming. You have to protect the phone. Do everything you can."
Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, no, the H dial was forged in the sphere of the gods. That's how powerful this thing is. Come on."
And what I wasn't expecting, having never really read any Dial H stuff, is they're kind of treating this like everyone who's ever used it is kind of like a junkie, where they're desperate for the next fix.
Yeah.
So we have this guy who's like coming after him, and he gets the phone, he dives into the water, and uses it, and he becomes. Let me just get to this. Zobu, the Zonky King.
Jobu.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Jobu, and for King. Reference. This is Dragon Ball. He is basically Goku.
Oh, that was lost on me.
This is a young Goku.
This was lost on me. I didn't get that reference. I just thought it was
All of
something.
this is him training with the old master, the old pervy master, whose name I'm forgetting. Yeah.
There's also a scene just before that though, where a cop accosts the girl whose name I can't remember, and turns out she's also looking for the dial. So, this Thunderbolt dude is like manipulating several people into chasing after this phone.
We see a little bit. He's telling them, right, look, get it, but do not ring the phone. Don't pick up because people will know where you are. Then you just gotta get it and deliver it to.
But he's whispering in their ear. But we get this quick little backstory of this what was his name again? Jobu, which is what the guy's turned into.
The girl's called Summer, by the way.
Girl called Summer, cool. And Miguel sees this and he jumps after him and tries tackling him, and bit of a fight breaks out. The cops shooting. Summer comes in with a truck and hits Jobu. He finally.
I love the arts. The arts. Even before we get to this next one.
Yeah.
When Jobu switches, it's this very soft manga style.
It changes.
Even down to the panel layout. It's the slanted angle thing that a lot of manga does.
But it changes again though when he uses the phone and his character, he comes into it, where it becomes this more classic.
Big mech suit.
Yeah, grayscale. No, I'm talking about the art specifically. The grayscale art, the way it changes.
Yeah, the grayscale manga.
Yeah, and he becomes this big mech suit, which is called Iron Dreadhead. And it actually says, the drill, and it starts off with an origin story, and then he kind of almost goes meta and smashes it and says, "No time for origin story."
No time for secret origins. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's almost like a weird like cyberpunk kind of thing where there's people with these weird guns and helmets on, but we don't have time for that. So we get this fight between Jobu and the mech suit, and the
punch, and he's got the two fists colliding,
and Summer's just watching in disbelief, going, "Holy shit, that was Miguel a minute ago."
No effing way.
And then so he fights off Jobu. He turns back into Miguel, and they're like, "All right, we need to get going. We have to go to Metropolis because the only person I trust to look after this is Superman." So they're on their way to Metropolis. However, the phone was nabbed by the policewoman before they realize what happened. So they're going to have to go find it first. They're reunited at the end though, because they're more of a team now. Because she's excited about going to Metropolis. They've kind of bonded over this, so the fighting's kind of went away, and they're kind of united. So
and you have to, at the end, you see the officers got it, and you see Thunderbolt going, right, very good. Now, bring it to Central City and don't ring it. Promise. And she's like, yeah, I promise. And this is next. Officer Crandall dials the phone. No shit.
Which is presumably how our character's going to find the phone and find out where she's going, because
they'll be drawn to it.
They'll be drawn
somehow.
to it. At least he will, because he's used it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, no, I'd be interested to see if they actually deal with him getting addicted to it. It may actually establish that that's a thing, and if he'll be affected or whatever.
I can see it almost playing it kind of One Ring-esque. That's kind of how this is being played, with everyone kind of going after it. It's got this effect on them. Yeah, but maybe he'll be a bit of a Samwise and can resist it.
But it'll be better than
maybe
that.
that'll be Summer's job, but and he'll be the Frodo. It'll be more direct.
But this will be better than Lord of the
saying
Rings.
Summer, and I'm square in Game of Thrones stuff, so I keep thinking, yeah.
Now I'm with you.
Okay, cool. I liked it again. It was fun. Fun.
Yeah, I love this. This is becoming one of my favorite little books.
No, I like the creativeness of it. I like the attitude the characters seem to have, and we're getting kind of wacky because we had the monster truck thing last issue, and then this was a mech suit and apparently a Dragon Ball-esque character.
He even does the Kamehameha, the hand blast thing.
See, I know very little about Dragon Ball Z, but I know the memes.
Yeah. I don't know that. The only thing I know about Dragon Ball is over 9,000. That is the extent of my Dragon Ball knowledge. I don't even know who the characters are. I don't know. I've heard the name Goku. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know anything else.
Well, it's interesting because Goku had a tail, which is this.
But if you pull on his tail, his powers go away, right?
Kind of. It's
like the Monkey King from Chinese mythology.
Yeah, and the whole thing, right? But this guy that he's wearing, he's a bit of a horse thing, and Goku can kind of has a bit of a transformation element. And this here, it's wearing yellow pants with red stars. The whole thing is super Dragon Ball. It's great.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't need to research it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want no part of no Dragon Ball. But that is Dial H for Hero. What are you rating it, Connor?
I'm going high because this is fantastic for me. I'm giving it a 9. So I think I give the first issue because I love this book.
Yeah, I think like the first issue, I'm not going as silly high as you are. But I will give it an 8. I think it's solid, good fun. It was a delight to read because I'm super quick, and his admiration for Superman and wanting to be like that is also super endearing. So
see what you did there.
I think I'm giving it like an extra point for the art being so good at switching between completely different styles, and still feeling cohesive and so effective.
So that will take us on to the final book of the week, which is Freedom Fighters issue 5, which is written by Robert Venditti, art by Eddy Barrows, and notably, the one thing that I was going to read and didn't was Freedom Fighters because I had to read the last issue as well, and as per usual, there was a bit of a crunch period before the podcast, and I didn't have time to read 2 more books.
Because you forgot how many books you had.
I did.
Yeah.
No, I said to Connor last night that I checked how many books I had to read for today, and I hadn't read any yet. I was like, holy shit, I've got like 10 books.
Yeah.
I thought it was less. Oh well. So that's what happened.
Connor, did you read this?
No, I'm 2 issues behind because of the one I missed.
So I'll get you guys caught up real quick. In the last issue, the Freedom Fighters blew up Nazi Mount Rushmore with skin cells from the human bomb.
I think I remember you telling me this.
Yeah,
I remember that as well.
So because of that and because of the message that it sent to the American people, it finally reawoken Uncle Sam as the spirit of 76. So at the end of the issue, he ends up out in the street, and the police go to stop him because he's too American, if you will. So this issue picks up where that left off, and you have Uncle Sam, and he's a little rusty, but he can still get up to kick some Nazi ass. And he starts explaining to the people around him in the streets of Philadelphia that while he might still be weak, that the spirit of 76 is essentially freedom, and that he was born when the early American settlers rose up against Britain, but it was more than just rising up. It was that yearning to be left alone because they were downtrodden, they were tired of being taken advantage of, and that America wasn't always this pristine place, but freedom still endured, and it got corrupted at points, and you got to take the bad with the good. So there's this whole thing there that it goes over, which I thought was pretty cool, because especially in this day and age where you try to create this patriotic hero, you got to address some of the things that have happened in the past. So here, Venditti addresses like slavery and oppression and all the stuff that's happened since the Revolutionary War, but also that each of those has given an opportunity to overcome, which has overall strengthened the resolve. So all of those have led to now, with this Nazi occupation in New America, for the freedom fighters to reawaken him. And at the same time, all this is going on, Adolf Hitler too is freaking out because there's reports of the spirit, as they call him, spirit of 76, like reawakening and causing chaos in the cities. The freedom fighters they keep getting away, so they go to evacuate the Fuhrer to his bunker. And when he gets there, he starts asking one of the ladies, who reminded me of Ilsa from Raiders of the Lost Ark, or not Raiders, from Last Crusade, right? She's this blonde science woman. And they go, yeah, he's really been taking to the conditioning. And you see this bunker, and it looks like this farm. There's pig pens, and there's an orchard. And as they're walking through, they get to the end, and it's Overman. So it's Superman, Nazi Superman, and he's being conditioned that the Fuhrer is always right. So hey, stop! 1 second. Oh, the cat just got sick. So I'll have to clean that up when we're done.
Well, it wouldn't be an episode of this show without an animal mishap.
Yeah, right. So I started hearing. I thought she was scratching something. Then I realized, oh no, that's the bath. Oh, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so Overman's being introduced to the fight because this is how far the freedom fighters have pushed them, that they're gonna release Nazi Superman to fight the Spirit of 76, who's already in a weakened state because of what has happened in America. I'm trying to get back to that page. But yeah, so basically they're reminding him his name is Overman, and the Overman serves the Fuhrer. So it tells me that behind this vault, through this massive bunker and stuff, that maybe Overman was pushing back a little bit, and that's why they have to recondition him. But he's coming to fight the freedom fighters in the next issue. The art's still solid. It's a lot of action scenes with the freedom fighters coming to save Uncle Sam. Like they eject a human bomb out of the plane, and he just takes off this whole city street that stops this gigantic war wheel that they sent after him. And they talk about how the war wheel was this thing that basically decimated Stalingrad, which I know that was one of the bloodiest wars during World War II. So the fact that in this history they had this technology that completely wiped out Stalingrad, turned it to dust, they said. But we see that as scary as that thing is, the human bomb basically disables it with one explosion. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, Venditti's still doing it. Between this and Hawkman, these are two books I really look forward to. And especially with what happens here. We're almost halfway done. So I'm curious to see what happens with the Spirit of 76, Uncle Sam, versus Overman. Like, is it going to be this knockout drag out, or is he going to be able to speak to something innate in Overman? And that's what flips the battle.
I would like to catch up for next issue, but I'm not going to make any promises.
Yeah, it's super good. And when we see him, he looks like our Superman, just with the how their swastika is a little bit softened. That's the logo on his S shield. I mean, he looks proper scary, standing there at the end.
Well, I mean, week 4 will be quieting down a little bit because both Heroes in Crisis and Silencer will be done after next month. So hopefully that lets things breathe a little bit more. But we'll see. It depends what else they're adding. Because I can never remember off the top of my head. We giving it though before we
I'm gonna give it 8.5. It might just be my bias. I like the subject matter, but I really enjoy this issue.
Cool. Well, that was the last book of the show, which means we're on to the part of the show where we pick our favourite stuff for the week. We do our best panel/moment, best cover, best art, and of course top 5 books. We actually have more than 5 books this week, so we actually can do a full top 5. Last week it was very much, here's the 4 books we read in order. So Matt, what was your panel/moment?
So mine comes from Wonder Woman. It's that Who Am I to Judge? I just love the way that sequence plays out. Xermanico's art. So
cool. Connor?
I'm going with Swamp Thing comforting Bobo in Justice League Dark.
That's pretty good.
That was great.
Cool. I'm going with Silencer. I'm going with the chase and the tanker specifically. I really like that sequence. So that's my pick. Best cover, Matt.
As much as I didn't enjoy the issue, I really enjoy that cover of Heroes in Crisis.
Oh, sure.
Like what it does with the oranges, it teases the family that's never going to show up again.
I am stuck very harshly between two. And it is the regular Action Comics cover by Epting.
It's pretty great. I'm looking at previews now.
Yeah. And the variant for Batgirl.
Also good.
Which is
what's the variant for Batgirl look like? I gotta look this up.
It's a Middleton one.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the Freedom Fighters is a take on the crossing of the Delaware with George Washington. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
That Batgirl one's her crouched in front of the clock tower, and it's just the gorgeous art.
I really like the regular Batgirl cover, the Manipul one. Yeah. And I really like Gerads Flash variant.
The Flash variant's pretty good. It's definitely between Action and Batgirl variant for me, though. I think I'm going to nudge it to Batgirl, but it's goddamn close.
I'm going to give it to the regular Batgirl cover.
That was pretty good though. The
Close to
negative
the-
space stuff.
Yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's a shame the Wonder Woman variant is Finch.
Yeah. I do like that cover though, the Dodson's one.
Yeah, the Dodson ones, they're
but-
always solid, aren't they?
Yeah. You know.
All right, top 5 books of the week, Matt.
So number 1 is Action. Number 2 is Freedom Fighters. Number 3 is Wonder Woman. Number 4 is Justice League Dark. Number 5 is Batgirl. I think that's how they ordered up.
Connor?
Dilate Your Hero, Wonder Woman, Justice League Dark, Silencer, Batgirl.
My number 1 is Action Comics. My number 2 is Wonder Woman. My number 3 is Silencer. My number 4 is Dial H for Hero. My number 5 is I'll go with Detective. No, not Terrifics. I'll go Terrifics. Where's number 5? There you go. Those are my top 5. So there you go. Which means I can tell you what's coming next week on the show. Quieter week, although there's a couple of things next week to make it a bit more exciting. Less things have changed, but next week we actually have the DC Villains of the Year special. The not exactly free comic book day, but it's essentially free comic book day.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
They've
sure.
been pushing it in all the ads this week.
So we got that. So that'll tease a few different storylines coming up in various books over the year. We got three things in it. We have Deceased issue 1 from Tom Taylor. So I know we're all excited for that.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, quite right. It's been a while since I played the button actually. Here you go.
Tom Taylor.
Boom.
I figured he was saving it for the big moment next week.
Oh sure. I'll use it next week. Don't you worry. Yeah.
Well, he'll abuse it next week, I'm sure.
We got Batman 70. We got Justice League 23, Young Justice issue 5, The Green Lantern issue 7. Matt might still be reading Female Furies issue 4.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. And then there's also Batman TMNT 3 issue 1 coming out, which I would read and cover, but I've actually not read the second one yet. Like I read the first mini, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't read the second mini, so I probably can't do
I
that.
can't
one
believe we've
next
gotten
week.
3 of these by now. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Did you mention
it's
Young
a trilogy.
Justice there?
I did, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Young Justice.
It's a trilogy though, which is kind of cool. Then there's also Harley Quinn issue 61, which obviously we won't be covering.
Just out of interest, obviously, because we record on a Saturday. Next Saturday, I believe, is Free Comic Book Day.
It is.
DC doing anything really aside from this villains
Not that I
issue, which
know
we're
of.
doing on the Wednesday anyway?
I don't know. Don't recall anything.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's cool.
But after we record here, I'm gonna head to my shop for the sales and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated because I'm working on the Saturday, so I'm working and coming straight back for this.
That sucks.
Yeah, so I'm not actually gonna get to the shop.
But hey, that's what's coming up next week. So it's actually not as dead as week 1 has been because we have the Villains of the Year and Deceased. But we'll see how it goes. So that's coming next week. And Cora does have to catch up on one Patreon pick of Red Hood, which he'll do next week as well. So that is what's coming. So that is next week's show. This has been episode 151, I think. 152 of Comics from the Multiverse. You can, of course, let us know what you think of the books in the comments below. By all means, do so. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. It helps us out. Give us a nice rating on your podcast app of choice. If you want to support us financially, you can do that over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. where you can support us for as little as $1 per month, and you get some bonuses, exclusive, some extras. One of the main things, of course, for this show being the monthly episode with me and Connor at the $5 tier. The next one of which will be Jeff Johns and Gary Frank Shazam, which we have been saying for a while. However, I explained this last time, but I'll just reiterate it. Basically, because I've seen the movie and Connor hadn't, it became a really awkward conversation very quickly, and we decided to push it until he's seen the movie. And then he got very sick and was out of action for like 5 days.
Yeah,
So
he's just being a layabout.
So as soon as Connor sees the movie, we're going to record that bonus episode, and that'll be up for patrons. So that's coming soon. Is there anything else to tell you about? I mean, yeah, we should probably mention the other Elsewhere and TV shows, the other multiverse shows. So we have Elsewhere in the Multiverse, which is me and Connor talking about our non-DC books that we were reading.
Yes. Now in 2 parts.
Which now comes in 2 parts over the week. Which I still think may have been a horrible idea because we've been having a terrible time remotely keeping that schedule.
Oh, we're doing good this week.
Are we?
Yeah, be done tonight. First half.
Yeah, but the plan was to have the first half up early Saturday.
Well, it's early Sunday. It's close enough.
We'd be done. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking it was a terrible idea. But yeah, so let's talk about other books. A lot of Marvel, of course, and then some other stuff. And then we also have Television from the Multiverse, where we talk about the DC TV shows every week. So
basically, it's an hour and a half of us telling you why you should watch Doom Patrol.
Yes, and not Arrow or Flash. So check out that if you wish. So that's Television from the Multiverse and Elsewhere in the Multiverse. So check those out. Otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. You can keep reading DC Comics, of course, but always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.